Hi there, welcome to another episode of the Fullstack Healthcare Management System. And this is where we left off. So, as we have done a lot of things, but if you go to the details of the patient, okay, you can see that this is a 404 page. So, this is what we're going to do. Okay, don't forget to like and subscribe. If you also need the full source code, you can check the links in the description. Okay. Okay, so here we'll just go, if you check the URL, you can see that we go into record and appointments, then the appointment ID, right? Okay, so we just go into the apps, into the protected page, then record, appointment, then the appointment ID. So this is a dynamic route. So we just put square bracket, then we put the ID, right? Like this slash then page. Okay. TSS. Okay. Oh, my bad. Okay, so you create a folder of this format, right? Double bracket, square bracket, then you put the ID inside, meaning that the ID is dynamic, right? It will change. It will not. It's not static. It will change it. So the appointment ID, no matter the appointment ID, will go to the same page. Okay, then we'll put the page.tss file inside. Okay. Okay, so this is going to be the appointment details page. So we can just say cons. Okay, great. So we'll just let me remove this for now. Okay, so this will be the appointment. Okay, let me add details here. Appointment details page. Okay, to make it easy. Okay, and we can also put this one here. Okay, so here we'll get the params. If you understand, you know that this will be a param, right? So we'll get this param, and this is a server component. That's why we can put the async here. Okay, but in React 19, all the params are promised, right? So we need to put a generic type, okay, of this format. Just wrap it around and put promise here, right? Great. So how can we get the param? We can just say that we'll destructure it by saying await params, and we destructure the ID from the params like this. Okay, so maybe we can just put the ID also here and see. Okay, great. So we can go and check on the page. Okay, let me refresh it and see if we get into something. Okay, so now you can see that we have the appointment details with 9, and the 9 I think is the appointment number here. Great. Okay, so what is this error? Okay, we'll find out. Okay, great. So on this page, this is where we're going to show all the appointment details. Okay, so I'll remove this, and this is going to be into two sections, the left and the right. Okay, great. So maybe I'll just put left here, duplicate it, and put right. Okay, so let's give some classes to this one. Okay, great. So class name, it's going to be flex, then pattern of 6, right? Okay, so it will normally be flex column, right? And on a large screen, then it will be flex row, right? But I want to reverse this so that when, okay, yeah, because the quick links will go to the right side. So in order for the quick links not to go down, maybe we can put reverse, great, so that the bottom one will come at the top. Okay, great. The quick links will come at the top. Okay, it will take the full width, and the minimum height should be screen. Okay, great. And let's also give a gap of 10 between the two. Okay, so here we can give another div, which would be of the left side. Okay, so class name, that will also be a width of full. And on LG screen, it will take a width of 65%, right? Great. It will also be flex, a flex column, and a gap of 6. Okay, great. So maybe I can just duplicate this and bring it to the left. And instead of 65, this will, we can, okay, so here we can even remove all of this and just say flex 1, which will take the remaining space, and we'll say space of y of also 6. Okay, great. So in here, we will show the appointment quick links. Okay, great. And in the quick links, we'll pass the staff ID, right? Okay, which will be it will be inside the data dot oh, it will be inside data question mark dot doctor question mark ID, or maybe let's yeah, doctor ID. Okay, but this one does not exist for now, so I'll comment it. And the another one will also be the patient details card, okay, which will also take the data, which will come. Okay, we'll fetch the patient data soon. So patient, okay, great. Let me also comment that. Okay, so this will be the two sites, and in here we'll also have a lot of stuff. So let's put them, then we'll begin to uncomment them and do them one after the other. Okay, so here we will use some queries. So right, so if the query, I'll name the query as cat, which is for category, right? So if the category is equal to charts, if it's equal to charts, I want to show the chart container. Okay, great. Let me comment this. And if it's equal to let's say maybe appointment, okay, then I'll say maybe I should say appointment container. Okay, and if okay, so in the appointment container, I think I will want to show more things. So I'll put this. Okay. Okay, so you will come back to it. Okay, and when it is equal to diagnosis, I'll show diagnose container. Comment this, and the last three will be if it's equal to billing. Billing, okay, so bill container. Okay, not bad. The other one will be medical history. Okay, so medical history container. Great. Okay, and the next one can be okay, let's say payments. Okay, then this will be payment container. Okay, great. So these are the things we're going to do. Okay, so I suggest we start from here where we have the links and the patient information. Okay, so I want to start with this. Okay. Okay, so here I can go inside the components, right? Okay. So maybe we could have created appointment folder where we put all of these things in. So let me do that. Appointment, then slash appointment quick links.tss. Okay, so I will just say this. Okay. Okay, so I can just go and import this now. Okay, great. So now I can save this. Okay, but the data does not exist. So let's try to fetch the data. Okay, so in here, now we have the patient ID. We will also need to have search params, right? Because I told you, okay, so I have this suggestion. So I have search params being also promised. Okay, and let's remove this. Okay, so the search param is also a promise. Now we'll have a key, and the key will be a string. Okay, great. So the key will be a string, and the value itself will also be a string or an array of strings or undefined. Great. So the key is a string, and the value is either a string of array of strings, and also can also be undefined. Okay, so here we can say let me put a search param also here. Okay, great. So here we can say okay, so here we can say search equal to await search params, right? And we can say, okay, so we can say the category should be the search dot, right? The name of the param that we will give, which is this, right? Great. Okay, but if it doesn't exist, maybe we can put a default value of chat. Okay, so if it doesn't exist, we said chats. Okay, so let me put also chats. Okay, so if there is no search, then we'll put it by default to chat. Okay, so how can we fetch the data? We can say const, then we'll destructure the data from await get appointment. I don't think we have appointment data like that. So I'll just go into the appointment service file, appointment service. Okay. Okay, so there's this one. Okay, so we have a lot of things going on here. So here maybe okay, so this is to get the patient appointment. I'll duplicate that and remove all of this. I just want to get the try catch with the error message we're sending. Okay, so in here we'll only be receiving the ID. So I'll just save this and remove all of this. Great. So we'll only be receiving the ID, which is a number. Okay, great. So okay, great. And the name will be get appointment. Okay, so we can say get appointment maybe with medical records by ID. That's such a long name. Okay. Okay, great. So here we can say if there is no ID. Okay, there is no ID. What can we do? We can just return that appointment ID does not exist, right? Okay, so now let's say const data equal to await db dot appointment, right? Dot find unique. Okay, because the ID is unique. So where ID will be ID. Okay, so because the ID here, we're converting it to numbers. So okay, so now let's begin to get the various fields that we'll need. Okay, so I'll say include. What are the fields I want to include? I want to include the patient to true. Okay, I also want to include the doctor, also true. Great. And I also want to include the medical. And inside the medical, instead of just saying medical to true, the medical also has the diagnosis inside it. So I'll also say include diagnosis to true. Great. And maybe lab also true, lab test also to true. And but again, vitals. Okay, so the vital signs also to true. Okay, so after this, okay, maybe let me also put the bill in here, bills to true. Okay, great. So yeah, so we can do check that if there is no data, we'll just send that appointment data not found. But if it exists, then we can send a success through data to data and the status of 200. Okay, I think that's pretty cool. So since this name is very long, I'll just want to copy it. I don't know why I gave such a long name, but don't worry. Okay, so here, okay, and I'll just put say number. I'll make sure I put the ID as a number. Okay, great. Okay, so now that I have the ID here, I can pass it. Okay, so I'll receive the ID in here. Great. So here we think, okay. Okay, so here we take the ID, staff ID. Okay, we can just save this and let's go and see if it's working. Okay, so we have quick links without the ID. Okay, it's loading, so let's wait and see. Okay, so there is no records. So let me do this. Let me try to console log this data first. And I'll bring my terminal here. Okay, so we have the information. We have the doctor. Okay, so where is the doctor ID? So this is the doctor ID, right? So, okay, so he has the information. And we are saying that doctor, okay, that's doctor ID. And it's saying that it can be undefined. Okay, so we can solve this issue by just saying a string, great, like this. Okay, and let's see. Okay, so now we have the ID here. Okay, great. Okay, so now I can remove this. So I'm going to use the card component from CN. So card, make sure you import from UI card. Okay. Okay, so with this card, I want to give some classes. I want it to have a width of full. I want to increase the rounded to XL. I want to give a background of white and shadow of none. Shadow none. Okay, none. And I want the shadow. Okay, great. So in here, I can have the card header, also from UI. And inside the header, I can put a title, quick links. Okay, let me import that. Okay, quick links. Okay, I think something is broken. Okay, great. Great. So quick links. And after the header, then I can put the card content. Okay, great. Let's see. Okay, so we have quick links. Okay, great. So inside here, we're going to put the various links. So I'll use the link from NextJs. Okay. And inside there's the first one. I'll just put the charts, right? Okay. And when it comes to the href, we're not going to do much. What we're going to do is just to append a query, right? Great, like this. So we just say chart. We just, attach a query to whatever link that URL that we have. Okay. We can also give some classes. So let's say class name. I'll say pattern X of 4, pattern Y of 2. Okay. Rounded of LG, and a BG of gray dash 100, and a test of gray dash 600. Okay, great. So let's see. Great. So if I click on it, okay, so you see that the query has been attached. Okay, great. Okay, so we have other links. So, okay, so I got this suggestion. This one will be appointments. Okay, and I'm going to change the, okay, so this will be appointments. Maybe, okay, here's supposed to be gray. Maybe appointment, I can change it to a different color. Let me see what I get. Let me just change it to any color. Okay. Okay, great. So violet 101, violet 600 for the test color. Okay. Okay, so I also have this one. Okay, great. So the next one, okay, let's see. Okay, so the next one I get diagnoses of blue and the test of blue 600. Okay, great. Okay, so this is for billing, and billing also of green. Sure, you can give any color that you want. And also medical history, yeah, red, and okay, great. So, and I think they were okay, and this is for payment. So if I check from here, I think I have 1 2 3 4 5 6. Okay, so I believe 1 2 3 4 5 and 6. Okay, so I believe these are the links. Okay, so maybe let's see. Okay, so payments, let me put lab tests. Should we have lab tests? Okay, and the lab tests will also be lab tests. Okay, great. And the next one will be maybe, okay, vital signs, which the vital signs will go to, okay, so vital signs will also be like this. Okay. Okay, so it will also be at the same appointment page, right? But we'll use sections and ID. So this, then we'll just scroll to that particular area. Okay. Okay, so I think I've given bills, billing of, yeah, let me just call it bills. And I think here it was also bills. Okay, it was billing. Okay, that's fine. Billing. Okay. Okay, and in here, we can also have that review form, right? Review. Okay, review form. I don't know the name I gave it to it, but I think, okay, so I think we have the form where user can submit their reviews. Let me search. I think it's rating. Okay, so patient rating container. Okay, so in here, then the ratings. Okay. Okay, so where were we adding the, okay. I don't think we've done that because I can't find the rating form. Okay. Okay, so I don't think we've done that, right? Okay, so let's do it. Okay, and this form will only be visible if the person is a patient, right? So we can do use our check, right? So we'll just say okay, let's do it up here. We can just say cons is patient, right? That will say await check row, okay, and pass in patient. Okay, and make sure you mark this also async, right? So if it's patient, it will either be true or false. So we don't want the staff to rate themselves, but we want the patient to rate the staff. Okay, great. And we can also pass the staff ID here so that they know the staff they want to rate. I mean, we'll get the staff. Okay, so okay, so here we can go into the components. Okay, so maybe, okay, let me also create this as dialogues slash review form dot tss. Okay, so let me go here and import this. Okay, so because I am not a patient, I am the admin, I want to make this false so that I will see that form, right? Okay, I think we could have done something about the spacing here, right? Okay, so let's do something about the spacing. Okay, so here, let's do something about the spacing. We can just say, let's give a gap of 4 and see if we'll do pretty much good. Why did I add a thing? Okay, so maybe I can just give flex, then flex wrap. Okay, let's see if it will work. Okay, great. I think 4 is too much. So let me say 2. Okay, I think 2 is okay. So now let's go into the review form. Okay, so here, I don't need all of this. Okay, so let's go into the review form. Okay, so that one, I will just want to put the schema up here. Okay, so this is going to be the schema. So we're going to have Z. Let me import Z from Zord. Okay, so schema will have the patient ID, the staff ID, the rating itself, right, which is a minimum of 1 and a maximum of 5, and also the comment if they want to put a comment, right, minimum of 10 and a maximum of 500. Okay, maybe I can just say minimum of 1. Yeah. Okay, so here we can also just get the type by saying type review form values should be z dot infer, okay, of type that will pass the review schema. Okay, great. So we have the types here. So in here, the things we'll need is we'll need the router, which will be a use router, make sure you import from Next Navigation and not Next Route. Okay, let's also create an instance of the form where we use form from React Hook form. Okay, great. And let's pass the review. Okay, I think I guess some suggestions, and let's pass this form value that we've created up here to it to get the types. Okay, so we also need to import Zord resolver from hook form from yes, hook form resolvers / Zord. Okay, great. And the values that we'll get the okay, great, like this. And as we said, the minimum is 1, so maybe we can put 1 by default. Okay. And here we can also pass the staff ID here. Okay, so the staff ID that we have received, we can just pass it there. Okay, we can also get the user information by saying cons user equal to use auth, which is coming from Clerk. Okay, like this. Okay, so we can just pass the patient ID here as user.id. Oh, ID. Okay, great. I think it's supposed to be user ID. Okay, great. Oh, user. Okay, great. I don't think I'm getting it correct. Okay, so something like this. Okay, and we can pass a string to make sure it's there. Okay, great. So yeah, we're getting all of this. Now we can also have loading and its loading property. Okay, great. Okay, so now make sure you import use state from React. Okay, great. Make sure you import it from React use state here. Okay, so now this we can create the handle submit, right? Okay, great. So it will be an async function. It will take the data, right? And the data should be of this type. Now we could have been writing this wherever we have this, but we just want to make it simple. That's why I created this, right? So you can forget this and just repeat the whole of this z.infer wherever you have this, right? Okay, great. So submit, it ought to be submit. Okay, great. Okay, so let's hang on with this. We'll come back to it. Okay. Okay, let me remove this. And inside this, I'm going to put the dialog from UI, great. And the dialog always have the dialog trigger. So dialog trigger, okay, also from UI, not from Radix, okay. I want it to be the child, okay. And inside this, I'll have a button, okay, also from UI components, okay. And the bottom will have a plus symbol from Lucid React, right? Okay, great. With the name of add new review, yeah, okay, possibly. Okay, so okay, so you can see that he said that we are importing component that needs use router, and this is a hook, right? So we need to make sure we use the use client here, right? Okay, great. So in here, we just need to come to the top here and make sure, because there are interactions, right, where we use hooks like, you know, all of these are hooks, the use states. So we need to make sure that this is a client component. Okay. So we can start this button, right? Okay. So we can say PS of, okay. Let's make sure it matches the design that we have. PX of 4, PY of 2. Okay. So rounded LG and BG of black Dustin. Okay. And a test of also black. Okay. On hover, I mean, since it's a button on hover, I want to have BG transparent. Great. And let's also make the font light. Okay. We can also change the size to maybe small sm, right? Great. Let's check and see. Okay, so we have this. If I click on it for now, nothing happens because we don't have the content. Okay, so here we have the dialog content. Make sure you import it from UI/dialog and not from radix. Okay, great. So in here, we'll also have the dialog header, right? Great. And inside the header, we'll have the dialog title, which will be add new review, and make sure you import it. Okay, great. So if I go to check, I click on this, great. So I have new review, add new review. Now the dialog also has dialog description. Okay, that you can put anything that you want inside. Yeah, you can put anything you want inside. Okay, so beneath the header, now we're going to put the form. So import the form from UI form, great. And it will take the value we need to spread the form instance that we created up there. Okay, now inside this, we'll also put the normal HTML form inside, delete the action, we don't need it, great, like this. So this form, on submit function will, okay, so on submit, we just go into the form instance we created that also has a handle submit, then we'll pass the handle submit function that we created inside. Okay, great. So here, maybe I can add a little bit of classes to this one. So I'll just say class name, say space, okay, space y of 6. Okay, great. So here we have the form field, okay, from UI. Okay, so form field will take control, right, which is inside the form.control. We also take the name, and the name will be rating, and we also get the render method. Okay, so the render method, okay, great. So the render method, then we'll destructure the field, and now we need to return something. Okay, so what we are going to return is, you know how we created forms, right? So we're going to return the form item, which is also coming from UI, right? Great. And that is not a self-closing div. We put a title, okay? Great, so we have the form item, and inside the form item, we have the form title. Okay, great. And after the form title, we can have the form control. Great, great. So inside the form control, I will want to put a div. Okay, great. Let's make sure we import this. Okay, great. Let me also style this. It should be flex and items to center, then a space x of 2. Okay. So here I am going to, okay, I think I get some suggestions here. So I'm going to display the number of stars, right? So I am using this, creating an array of 1 up to 5, and then I'll map over them as the stars, and I'll return, okay, so then I'm returning a button, right, with the variant of ghost and an icon. Okay, with the size of icon, and also on click, we just call the field, while we've destructured here, the on-chain property of it, and pass the star to it, right? Okay, great. So we're also going to say that we're going to use the this helper function, the cn function, and we're saying that if the field value is equal to star, then we just want to color it, right? Okay. Okay, I think that's cool. Maybe we can improve upon the sizes. No, okay, let's just leave it like that. Okay, and here we're returning the star. Okay, so let's go and see something. So if I click on this, okay, it says rating, and we have 1, 2, 3. Okay, so if I click, okay, but I don't think this is the best. So maybe we can just render a star icon. So star icon from Lucid React. Great. And here we can see the size should be 8, so we can just say width of 8, right? Okay, and let's see. I think that one will be better than the numbers. Okay, so here you can see. Okay, so maybe we can change this from the size of icon, and let's see. if it'll be a little bit bigger. Okay, that's right. Okay, great. Okay, so let's see if I can also say fill should be yellow. That's same 500 and see. Okay, so when I click on it, okay, so maybe I should apply that one here instead. So let me copy this and put it here. Okay, so if I click on it, great. But I think the size is pretty small, so maybe I can just give size here and say 30. Let's see if it will make it a little bit big. I don't think it's working. Okay, let me toggle this button and see. Yeah, I think, okay, so maybe so I can just bring this button and make it the normal HTML button. Okay, so there will not be any variant here. Great. And let's see. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so maybe I can just say item center, maybe justify to also center and see. And I'm going to say, okay, did I say spacing of 2? Yeah, that's right. Okay, so maybe I think it should be at the left. Yeah, that is what I think. So I'll just remove this and maybe increase this to 3. And let's see. Okay, great. So if I click this, meaning I've selected 3 for, okay, great. Okay, or we can even improve upon it by saying that, okay, so we can say that if this, okay, so let me just say if star is less than or equal to field dot value, right? Okay, so if it's less, then we apply this colors. Okay, let me make an else condition. Else, then let me just make the color to be gray dash maybe 400, and let's see. Okay, I don't like it being so dark like that. Okay, so now if I click great, so if I select 2, meaning the first 2, 3, great job. Okay, great. So if what we have selected, right, this star, what we have selected is great, yeah, less than this, then we color all the less values. Okay, so yeah, form control. So beneath the form control, we can have the form message, which makes sure you import it from this. And we can even also have the form description. Form description. And we can just put in something that please rate the staff, something like that. Okay, great. It should appear below this. Great. Okay, so after that, we need to have the form field, another field for the review itself. So form field, okay, which will also have the control, and the name will be the comment, and the render method will also be of this. Okay, so here we also have the form item, and we have the form label, which will be the comment, right? Okay, and now we have the form control. Okay, so the form control can be this, and inside this, we're going to put the test area. So inside the form control, put the test area and say, write your review here, and we just spread all the fields information that we have here. Okay, great. There's one thing we can even add. Okay, so let's add this class name, and let's say resize should be none. Okay, so that user cannot resize the form. Test area. Okay, I think, okay, yeah, make sure you import it from UI test area. Okay, it's here. So UI test area. Okay, great. So if I go back, I should see that I have also a test area added. Great. So here, great. Okay, so now I can just add below this, all of this, but still inside the form, I can put now a button, right, which will do the submit. So I just say submit. Okay, so the type is going to be a button, right? And when it is loading, I'm just going to disable it. So when it's loading, I'm just going to say submitting and submit. When it is not loading, we'll just say submit. Okay, great. Let's see. Okay. Okay, so it's here. Maybe I should make it take the entire screen, right? Yeah, you can do that too. If you want it to be small like that, that's fine. But if you want it to be entire screen, just add a width of full and you should take the full. Okay, great. So here we have the error here. Great. So here, great. And by default, 1 is selected because we set the default value to 1. Okay, great. So let's now come here to how we can submit the form. Okay, so first let's go inside the general actions here, and let's add the functionality to create a review. Okay, so great. So I have this. Okay, great. So after this create review, which you take this review. I don't know if I can import it from here. I'm not sure I can. So what I can do is that I can make this export, and let's see if I can import it from here. Great. Let's hope so. Okay, so yes, I have imported it. So now these values will have the types, the appropriate types. Okay. Okay, so we can still do validation by saying validated data, okay, by using this, or we can even use just pass. Okay, let me just use, and let me also import this. So yes, let me also export this, or we could have just place it inside our schema. So yeah, so here, okay, let me import this. Okay, great. So now I think I can use the pass. Okay, so with the difference between the save pass and this pass, I think the pass, when it does not match, it will throw an error, right? So we don't have to do any other thing. But when you use the save pass, you get the success and the data itself, right? Okay, so here you see that we only get the data, right? Okay, great. So now we can just say that maybe await db dot review. I don't know if we have the data table. Okay, I'm not sure we have the data table rating. Okay, yeah, it's ratings dot create. So we want to create, and the data should be okay. So okay, yeah, that's it. And the data should be, we'll have the patient ID, the staff ID, and also this. We could have also made it easy by just saying we just spread the validated data. But this will only be possible. This will only be possible when all the fields in your database, right? You see, we have this. They match the same fields that you have in your schema. If the fields are not the same, then you have to do them one by one. You can only spread them when the fields are matching. Okay, then we'll send a response of, yeah, review created successfully. Okay, so we can just go and call this. Okay, so now come here. Great. So inside here, we can also put a try catch. Great. So if we get an error, we can use a toast. I think we have the toast from Sona. Great. And say error and just say, okay, failed to review. And we can also put the finally clause here and set the loading to false. Okay. So here, let me import the review and just pass this to it. Okay. Okay, so this, yes. Okay, great. So now we're saying that if the response exists, then we just bring the response message, then do a refresh. Okay. So maybe I'm just going to test myself. So I'll read 5 and just put something here and submit and see. Okay, I don't know whether I went through or not, but okay. That's very long. Okay, I don't think we had an error. It went through. I want to believe. Okay, so what we can do is that maybe we can go here and okay, so I'm just gonna, oh, okay, I don't think it will go through. Yeah, it will not go through because the patient ID will not match. Okay, so when we log in as a patient, I think we can try that one. Okay, great. So now we have that. So let's talk about the patient container here. Okay, so I can close most of these things. Great. Okay, great. So here, okay, this one will also go. So patient card, patient detail card. Okay, it should be detail card. Okay, so inside the appointment where I had the links, so component, appointments, then I'll just put patient details card. Okay, great. .tss. Okay, so I normally like to have name okay export rather than the default export. So okay, so here, okay, so here I think we'll be getting the patient data, so we can use the Prisma client. Okay, patient from Prisma client. Okay, so let's go back here and import this. Great. And here we can put exclamatory as to tell it that it's exists. Okay, great. So here we're also going to use the card. Okay, remove this. Okay, so the card will need a card header with a title of maybe patient details. And here we also don't want to have shadow, so we just say shadow of none. Shadow. Okay, shadow none. And I want the BG to be white. Okay, great. Okay, great. So inside the header, okay, so inside the header, I'm just going to put the patient info. So I'll put an image. Should the patient have an image? Okay. Okay, so here I have these suggestions. So I think it's IMG. Great. And if it doesn't, I'll just use an avatar that I have user.jpg. And I don't think I have that asset here. Okay, that's not, there is none. Okay, so let me look for that. Okay, so I'll put this here, user.jpg. Okay, great. So this. Okay, so here I'll also say maybe one of the, okay, let me put the email. Maybe first name. Okay, great. Let's start this first. Okay, so here we're gonna say that it should be relative width and height of 20, so we can just say size 20. Okay, so when you have the width and the height of the same thing, we can just use size. Okay, great. And on Excel you can say size of 24. Okay, great. Rounded of full and overflow of hidden. Great. Okay, so this is for that image. So let's come down. Now we can have H2, which will take the username. Okay. So I'm giving some suggestions. So it will take the username. Okay, that's right. And we also have as a paragraph which takes the email and phone. Okay, that's right. We can also have another one which takes the gender and age. Okay, so I can just put dash here. And to get the age, we have a function that is calculate rate. So a utility function calculate age, where we pass the data date of birth. Great. So let's check our progress. Okay, so we have patient details and the name. Okay, great. So we have the name, the other information also here, the email address and contact. Okay, great. Okay, so here maybe I can also put dash between them. Okay, great. Okay, so now we can have the content here, and make sure you import the card content. In the card content, let's also have a div, class name, flex items to start. Okay, and a gap of 3. Okay, so here I'm going to say calendar icon. Okay, the calendar icon will have a size of 22. Okay, and the class name of test of grade dash 400. Okay, beneath this we can have another div, and inside that we'll have a paragraph which will take the okay, so in the paragraph we can say date of birth. Okay, so let me start this by saying that the test should be SM and a test grade of 400 or 500, I mean. Okay, so I'll also have another paragraph, and let me start this straight up. So this one will also be test of MD. Do we have test MD? I think it's test base, great, and font dash medium, great. And the test color can be, I think I can be using the muted foreground, great, this one. So inside this, we're going to have format from data fairness format. I believe we have it. Great. Like this. Then we pass in the date, so new date, which is data dot date of birth. Great. Then now we pass in the format, which we want it to be maybe, yeah, like this. Let's see. So date of birth, then where is the date? Okay, so we have this. So March 14th, 1977. Okay. And even below this, yeah, okay, I think that's pretty much it. Yeah. So we'll just be having it in this kind of way, right? So I'll just duplicate this. And the next one, the icon will be home icon. Okay. And this will be address I build. Okay, great. Okay, I think I'm getting, oh, sorry. The home icon is supposed to come from Lucid React. Lucid, yeah. Okay, so address is here. Okay, so I think I need to okay, so here and here. Okay, so okay, great. So it's here. So maybe we can give some spacing. Okay, so I'll just say margin top of 4, then space y of 4. Okay, great. Let's see. Great. Okay, so we have a little bit of spacing. So I'll just copy this again. And the next one should be mail and email and email. Okay. The next one can be phone, change here to phone, then also here to phone. Okay. Okay, so the next one will be info. Okay, so the info will be physician. Okay, so the primary physician, and since we do not have the primary physician, maybe you can just put Dr. Code Wave. Okay, so we could have made it that during the registration, the patient will select the primary physician, right? So this is the primary physician, right? Okay. Okay, so primary physician, then I'll just put MBBS. Okay, I have just put some titles for myself. Okay. So I'll just duplicate this. I think, should I do 2 more times? Okay. So the first one will be for, I will not want to have any icon. So I'll remove that and I'll just say active. Oh, active, okay, conditions or condition. Then maybe you can just put any, I think the patient has data dot medical condition. Okay, let's put that one there. And I don't think here we'll also need the icon, but here we'll need allergies. Is that the correct spelling of allergies? Okay, it's this. Then here we can also have the allergies. Okay, great. So here, let's see. Okay, so we have this. Great job. Okay, so now let's come to this side. Okay, so now let's come to the chart. So I won't comment it and go inside the component appointment. Then I'll just put the name is chart container dot tsx. Okay, so in here we're just going to say, okay, export chart component. Okay, great. And let's import it from here. Great. So here we also need to pass the ID. So ID will be, we need to pass the patient ID from here. Okay, great. So we just say data.patient ID. Okay, we can just put this. Okay, then here we come here, we need to accept it. Okay, great. Okay, so now that we have accepted it, we can now fetch the patient information from here. Okay, so let's go inside the medical. Okay, I think we have a service file. So if we don't, let's check it. So services, do we have one for medical? Okay, I'm not sure. Okay, I can't find one. So we can just say medical.ts. Okay. So here we just say export cons. Okay. Get. Okay, so I'm just going to say get vital. Okay, science. Okay, let's say get vital science data. Okay, great. So here, what we'll do is that we'll just calculate it in 7 days, 7 days ago. Okay, so we're just saying 7 days ago should be date. Okay, so 7 days ago, then we just say so 7 days ago should be equal to today's date, and we're just getting the date of it, right? We want to set the date of it by getting it and subtracting 7 from it to get 7 days ago. Okay, so now let's say data should be equal to await db, which is imported from utils dot vital science dot find many. Okay, so we want to find many, then we'll put the where condition. Okay, so where patient ID will be equal to ID. Are we getting the, okay, yes, we're getting the ID from here. And this ID ought to be string. Okay, great. So where patient ID is string, and the created at date should also be GTE greater than or equal to 7 days ago. Okay, great. So now we can select the fields that we need. Okay, great. So here we can say select. What are the fields we need? We need the created at date. We need I think it's systolic. Okay, great. Systolic to true. We also need the diastolic. Yeah, true. And we also need the heart rate also of true. Okay, great. We don't want to select all the fields. Okay, so after this, we can also order by the created at date. In what order? In ascending order. Okay. Okay. Okay, so now that we have the data, let us format the data. So I'll just say cons formatted data. Okay, so okay, formatted data. We just want to map over the data, right? We'll map over it. We'll get each record, and okay, let's do this. So cons heart rate will be equal to the record dot the heart rate dot split. Now, you know that the heart rate we're given in a form of, let's say, 56-60, right? It's within a range. Okay, that is to according to my knowledge. If it's not that, you can change the idea behind it. Okay, great. So I want to split it by the dash, right? Okay, and when I split it, now I'll map it. Okay, so I'll just say one, it's called rate. Okay, and when I map over it, I'll just say pass int. Oh, okay, so I'll just say pass int, then I'll pass rate by trimming it to make sure I remove white spaces. Okay, this is supposed to be cons. Okay, so let me go over it again. So I'm just want to create a new heart rate, right? So if you see, this will be an array of numbers, right? So I'm mapping over the record, the heart rate that I'll get by splitting to remove the dash and placing the elements inside here. Okay. So if I get that one, then I can just return something like label, and the label will be format. Okay, so import format from date FNS, and I'll just say new date by records dot created at date, right? Great. And also I'm just going to format it into this format dash day. Okay, great. So the month and the day. Then the next one is I will need the value, and the value will be the heart rate. Maybe a perfect naming will be heart rates, since they are okay, they are more. Great. And I'll need the first one because it's an array of 2, right? 2, so I'll need the first index. Okay, that will be 4, and I can have value 2. Okay, so maybe this can be value 1 and value 2. Okay, great. Okay, so when we're done with that, let's also do calculate for the total systolic. Cons total systolic. Okay, will be data dot reduce. Okay, so I'll get a sum and the record. Okay, yeah, let me just say this ACC, where I'll just say sum plus ACC dot systolic. Okay, I just want to sum all of them, then comma 0. Okay, great. We can also do same for the total diastolic. Okay, which will also be like this. Great. Okay, so cons total value 1. So okay, total. Okay, great. So I'm getting some suggestions from here. So with this value 1 that we have from this formatted data, I am going to use that here and use this one here, right? Okay, so that I'll get the total of it and also the total of the value 2. Okay, so when that is also done, maybe we can have like something like cons count should be equal to data dot length, right? Great. So now we also have the length of the data, right? Okay, good. So now we can find the average systolic, so the average systolic will be this. Then I'll just put count here, right? And the average diastolic, okay, okay, my code generation is just generating codes, but I think it's fine so far. Okay, yeah, if you want to know how we can also create an app using AI, maybe like Cursor, just comment in the description, yeah, and we'll try it. Okay, so and the average diastolic will also be that over the total, right? And should we even get average value 1, okay, and average value 2? That's fine. We can also get the actual average, so we can also say average will be equal to I'm just going to use a template string like this, and I'll say average, I think systolic is up, then the diastolic is down. Okay, something like this. No, I only need this one. So yeah, the systolic slash the diastolic, and I think they are measured in mg slash dl. Nah, I think it's this. Okay, so yeah. So now the things we can return. Okay, I think I forgot something. Let me also do some thing here. So let me also say formatted data. Okay. Yeah, let me just say formatted vitals. Yeah, I don't know the name to give. So vitals should be also map. Okay. Oh, not this. Also be data.map, where we get each record. Okay, and instantly we want to return it. So the label will be the date, the same format. Okay, and here I'll put systolic, and here will also be diastolic. And here I don't think I'll need the heart rate. So yeah. Okay, so maybe here I'll say the data should be formatted vitals. Okay. So I'll send the formatted vitals. I will send the average, which is here. Okay. Also maybe heart rate data, which will be the I think formatted. That was the formatted data. Okay, which is this one. Okay, great. Okay, so here maybe I can also get the average heart rate, which will also be like this. Yeah. Okay, so maybe I can also send that one along. Okay. Okay, so here, yeah, that's a little bit long function too. Yeah. So inside here, we can just say this. Okay, so here, make sure you import this and pass the ID to it, right? Okay, so this here is a patient ID, and here we say number, no, it should be a string. Okay, great. Okay, so now we have all of this information here. Okay, so we're going to return 2 components, so I'll wrap them in a fragment. Okay, so the first component will be the blood pressure chart. Okay. Then the other one will be the heart rate chart. Okay, that's brilliant. Okay, so inside here, I'll say blood pressure chart .tss. Okay. So because we're going to use some charts, ReactJs, and ReactJs has some animation, so we'll use use client. Yes, this will be a client component. Okay. Now let me also define some interface. So interface blood. Okay. So we'll have the average, which will be of a string, and I'll have the data itself. The data will have label, which is string. It will also have the systolic, which is a number, and also the diastolic, which is also a number. Okay, and this will be an array. Okay, great. So make sure we pass it here. Okay, great. So here we can get the last data by just saying that the data that we just pass in the array the data dot length, right, -1. Okay. -1. Okay, so this will get us the last data. Okay. So in here, let's import the things we'll need from ReactJs. So I'll just say from ReactJs. Okay. Okay, so the things we'll need bar, we'll need the bar chart. Okay. We'll need the Cartesian grid. Cartesian. Okay, great. Great. We also need the legend. Okay. Legend. We also need the responsive container. We also need the two-tip and x-axis and y-axis. Okay, I think these are the things we need. Okay, great. Okay, so here I'm going to put this inside a card. And as usual, the classes that we have, shadow of none. And I want to say call span of 2. Okay, so if you check this call span of 2, we're using grid column, so we'll say we want it to be 2 out of 2. Okay, great. So here we can also have the card header with a title. Okay, there is no need of description. I don't think I'll need it. Okay, so I'll need the title. Okay, great. Okay, then we can have the content. Okay, so yeah, let's make sure we import this from here. Okay, great. Okay, so let's use this. Okay, so say flex, justify to between. Okay, an item to center with margin bottom of 4. Okay, so I'll give another div, which will have a paragraph tag. And inside the paragraph tag, I'm going to say last data. Okay, great. So the last data dot the systolic. So, okay, we can say if it doesn't exist, let's put 0. Right, okay, over last data dot systolic. If you also don't exist, we put 0. Okay. So let's start this. So this div, okay, done. So let's start this paragraph. We want the test to be LG. Okay, on Excel, test of Excel, and the font of semibold. Okay, great. Below it, we can have a span tag that will just say recent reading. Okay, so let's also start this. The test of SM. Okay. Okay, so we'll say this, it's a recent reading test SM and muted foreground. Okay, great. So maybe we can already check and see. Okay, so we have this here, so we don't have any readings. Okay. Maybe we can also even add the unit. Yeah, I think it's this. Okay. So once we're done with that, we can come below this and have another div. Okay, inside that div, okay, so I have this. Okay, I have the average, and I'll say, okay, so average. So I'm just going to say 7 days average. Okay, great. And okay, I also have another one, which will be a button. Okay, so button, make sure you import it from so that I'll see insights. Okay, so I'm going to say the variant should be maybe outline with a size of SM. Okay, so have it like this. Great. Okay, so yeah, this is now we don't have anything. Okay. So below this div, now let's put the responsive container. The responsive container ought to okay, let me remove that. Okay, so the responsive container ought to have a width of 100 and also a height of okay, let me make it 400. Okay, great. So inside this responsive container, now we're going to put the bar chart component, okay, which is not a self-closing. And here we can also pass the data, which should be the data that we have received. Okay, great. Now, so once now we have the data, now we can pass the Cartesian grid, the grid. Okay. So the grid will have stroke. Okay. These things. Okay, so we'll have the stroke. Okay, so we have a stroke of 3.3. Okay, great. So all these things are from the documentation like that. And also I'm going to say vertical of force. Okay, and the stroke color itself will be of maybe this color. Okay, let me bring the color that I have used. Okay. Okay, so beneath this, now we can also put the x-axis, right, and the y-axis. Okay, so the x-axis we also have this. So I'm just setting the data key to be the label. If you remember, this data has the label, so we want the x-axis to take the label. The axis line should be false, or yeah, and the thick line should also be this color, and the thick line is even false. So meaning we can even remove this because the line is not there. Okay, and that also the y-axis. Okay, so the y-axis also same. Okay, great. So now we're gonna have the tooltip. So two. Okay, so the tooltip will have content star. Okay, great. So in this content star, we can get the background. Yes, background to be 10 pixels. Oh, sorry. Border radius, I mean. So, okay, border radius. Okay, great. Border radius of 10 pixels. And so the border color or border, okay, border color of white. Okay, great. So now we can have the legend. Okay. And the legend will also have, yeah. Okay, so also be aligned to left, the vertical align to top, right? And it also are for styling. Okay, great. So far, I don't think we ought to have anything. Okay, so we have this. Okay. Okay, so now we can have the bar itself. Okay, so yes, I will have two of them. Okay, so I'll just copy the colors and its properties, just bring it here. So the first one will take the systolic with this fill color, and the legend, type should be circle, right? And I also want the radius of this. Okay, so the radius 1010, right? And here of 00. Okay, I think it's left, right, top and bottom or something like that. Yeah. Okay, and also the second one, because you know that, this is for the systolic, I also get a second one for the diastolic. Great, we also have the same styling, right, but with different color. Okay, so I don't think we have information in here, so we can't see anything for now. Okay, great. So that's pretty much it for this. Okay, so okay, so we're left with another chart, which is this. So I'll just come here again and create the hat read chart.tss. Okay, then I'll just say export. Okay, great. Okay, so here I can now uncomment this. Okay, great. So here we also need to pass the various data. Okay, so here also the interface will be okay, so the interface will also be, we have the average the same way, but this side we have the value 1 and the value 2, which is also an array. Then we just come and destructure them here. Okay, great. Also here we'll get the last record, right? Okay, doing the same format. Okay, and here we'll also need to import from the card, right? We're going to use this. So we have card and the title, okay, which is like heart rate. Okay, so now in the card content, okay, great. Okay, so like we did for the first one, we're going to do same thing. So I'll just bring that one here. Okay, so here we also have a div, right, in the 3 sections using flex. Okay, and here is going to display the first value, right? Okay, and here also display the average, right? Okay, average rate, and also import a button that says, yeah, inside. Okay, so now here we're also going to use the responsive container. Okay, so let me import. Okay. Okay, so here we also need the same things. So I'll just bring them. Okay, so the responsive container will, here we'll be using the line chart, right? Okay, instead of the bar chart. Okay, great. Okay, so here too, it goes the same format. So we have the line, and inside the line we have the Cartesian grid. Okay, then we have the axis, right? So I'll just need to bring the X and the Y axis. Okay, so we have the Cartesian and we have the X and the Y axis. Okay, so the X axis will take the label, and I don't want to show the Y axis line. Okay. Now we also need the tooltip and the line itself. So the line, I'm going to show 2 of them, right? Okay, so this is the tooltip. Okay, same like the first one. And this, the first line will be of type the monotone, which will take the first value, right, with this color. And the second one will also be of the type monotone, which will take the second one with the stroke color of this. Okay, great. So we, okay, I think I've imported it. That's fine. Let's say, okay, so I think you know the issue now. We need to make this also a client component. Okay, so use client, and I think it should work now. Okay, so we also have this one here. Okay, so if you click on which one should we go next? Maybe, okay, let's go to the vitals so that maybe we can add the vitals. Okay, so I'll close all of them and leave this one. Okay, so close others. Okay, so where is the vitals? Okay, I think we said the vitals. Which one does the vitals goes to? Okay, so the vitals goes, okay, so it's part of the appointment. Okay, great. So it's part of this appointment. So here, okay. So inside that same component, yes, appointment here, I'll give the appointment container.tss. Okay. Okay, so maybe here I can just make it appointment details. Okay, then I'll create another one for the vitals, vital signs.tss. Okay, so here export cons. Okay, so vital signs, great, where I'll return just a div. Okay, and here I also export cons appointment details, where I also return just a div. Okay, so in here, instead of this, I will import the appointment details, this one, and I also import the vital signs. Okay, great. Okay, so let's pass the various values. So here in the appointment details, I'm going to pass the ID, which will be the data dot patient ID. Okay. Maybe, okay, let me also just pass. patient ID. Okay, so this be the ID of the appointment itself. Okay, great. That's the appointment ID. And I can pass the appointment date, which will also be this, and maybe the time. So appointment.time, and also if there be any note, appointment.note. Okay, so here, this can put this, yeah, can put all of this to make sure it has this. So let's come here, and inside this page, okay, so here we'll put the various types. Okay, so you can just see this. So we're saying that, okay, the appointment details prop will have the ID, which is a string, right? Let me just, it can also be a number. So let me put this number or string. Okay, patient ID will always be a string. Appointment date will be date. Okay, the time will also be string, and the note will also be string, but the note can be optional. Okay, great. And we are just bringing it here and destructuring all the values here. Okay, great. So now let's also use the card. Okay. Okay, so here also shadow of none. Okay, great. So I'm also going to put the title, right? Okay. So, okay, so make sure you import the card header and also the title. Okay, so the title will be appointment detail or appointment information, anyone. Okay. Okay, so we have it this way. And now here we're going to have the card content. Okay. And inside this, I'll put a div. This div will have class name. Okay, so you have a class name of flex. Okay, we can also give space here by saying space y of 4. Okay, and I believe we have the small card. So yeah, in some of the lessons we build that small card. So I'll import a small card, and that small card takes it takes the label. So if I hover over it, you can see that it takes label, value, and class name. Okay, so the label will be appointment, okay, number, okay, and the value will be the ID. Yeah, okay. Okay, so this is a string. The number is not assigned to type string. Okay, so we can make it easy for ourselves by just doing it this way. I'll put ID. Okay, and I'll just put hash here. Okay, something like this. Great. We'll have another one, which will be for, okay, so another 2. So the second one will be for patient. No, let me put the date instead. Date, which will be, we'll use format from data fairness. Okay, so this, then I'll put the date format, which will be this. You can put any format of choice. Okay, and the next one will be the time for the appointment. Okay, and this will be time. Okay, great. So maybe we can go and see it. Okay, so if I click on appointment, okay, so we have it this way. So we have the appointment number, the date, and the time. Okay. Okay, so we can also come down here, give another div, and here we'll put a span tag that will say additional note. Okay. Okay, let's see. Okay, so additional note. So if there be any additional note, then I'll just put them into this test. Okay, or we can just say or no note. Okay, great. So see that if we have additional note, then it will come here. If there is, then there's no note. Okay, great. So I think, yeah, that's it. Let's go inside the vitals. So I'll close this, then vitals. But before then, let's pass the values to the vitals container. Okay, so what are the values we'll need? I will need the ID, which is also the ID, right? Okay. We'll also need the patient ID, which will be data.patient ID. Okay, we'll also need the doctor ID, which will also be equal to data.doctor ID. Okay. Okay, so here, okay, so we can just say, okay, so the ID will be of string, the patient ID is also a string, and this doctor ID is also string. Okay, great. Maybe let me just cut out this. So, okay, so this can be this or a string. Great. So here we can also have the medical ID, which will be string, but this one would be optional. So let's make it optional. Okay. And we can also have the appointment ID. Yeah. I think okay. Yeah. Okay. This ID is different. I think this ID is different from this. Okay. So I think these are the information we'll need. Okay. So in here, we can even fetch the data from here, right? Okay. So we can also fetch by saying const data should be equal to await db. We can also fetch it from here if you're aware. Yeah. Medical records dot find first. Okay, so we want to find first where appointment ID. Okay, so we can say where appointment ID equal to the ID here. We'll make sure it's a number because the appointment ID is a number. So make sure, because we're saying it can be either a string or a number, so make sure we force it to be a number here. Okay. And okay, great. And we can include the fields that we want. So here we want the vital signs. And inside the vital signs, we want to order it by the created at date, which should be in a form of descending. Okay, so this order, it's not for the medical records, it's for the vital signs. Okay, so this includes ends here. Now we can also order the medical records itself also in descending order using the created at date, so that the first one will be the recent one. Okay, great. I hope you understand. Great. So now we can see that const vitals should be equal to data as this dot vital signs, or we can just put now. Okay, great. So if it doesn't, we'll put now there. Okay, great. So here I'm going to change this to section where I'll put the ID of vital signs. Okay, great. Now inside here, we'll introduce the card again. Great. They also have the header. Okay, so the title says let's import it. Also import this. Okay, says vital signs. Okay. So I also want to put a button here which will add. Okay, so I'm going to say add. Okay, so I don't forget it. Okay, great. Okay, so okay, let's finish with it. Then we go to the add button to add the vital signs. Okay, so content. Okay, great. So here, what I want to do is spacing of 4. Okay, great. So inside here, what I'm going to say is that I'm just going to map over the vitals dot map. Okay, so I'll get each element. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to say const this equal to calculate. I don't think I have this function there. Okay, so I'll go inside the utils file, right? Okay, so utils here, and there is this index Okay, so I'm going to do a function that will say export cons calculate BMI. Okay. Okay, so we'll take the weight and the height, and they should all be numbers. Okay, so I'll say that cons height in meters. Oh, cons. Okay, so height in meters should be okay. It should be the height, because I think the heights are entered mostly in centimeters, so it should be this divided by 100 to give us meters. Okay, so we just say cons BMI should be equal to weight divided by height in meters, okay, times height in meters. Okay, so yeah, so okay, so we're dividing the weight by this, so in turn we'll get the BMI, and let's see that let status be equal to, let the status be a string, okay, and let's also say color code also be a string. Okay, great. So I'm going to say if, okay, so okay, so I get some suggestions. So if BMI is less than 18.5, the status will be that underweight, and we'll give this color. Yeah, pretty much. Okay, maybe let me just bring the color that I have. You can give color of choice, right? Okay, so this, and when it is between 18 and 24.9, it is normal, so we will just give, okay, this, yeah, some colors has been suggested. And when it is above 25 and 29, right, 25 and 29, it's overweight, and when it is above 29, it's obesity. Yeah, okay, so now we can return okay, so the BMI will be pass int. Now let me make it float. Pass float. Okay, great. And that's the BMI dot to fixed of 2. Okay, then I'll put the status and the code. Okay, great. So I can just go and call this function here, right? Right here. Great. I'll just put this one here. Okay, this. So now we need to pass in the information, right? That is the weight and the height. So okay, so yes. Let's see. Let me see. Okay, so should it not exist? Should it not exist? I'll put 0, and also this 0. Okay, so here we can get the BMI, the status, and the color code. Okay. This, okay, it does end somewhere. Okay, so now let's return something. Okay, so now I'm going to return a div. Okay, to get rid of the error. It should be div. Okay, great, like this. Okay, so here I'm going to say space of y of 4. Okay, and we also have a key, and the key should be el dot, I think there's ID. Okay, great. Let's have another div inside this with a class name. Grade calls of 1. 1. Okay. MD grade calls of 2, and LG grade calls of 3, and a gap of 4. Okay, great. So in here, I'm going to put the item card. Okay, so item card, and I'm not sure I have the item card. Okay, so the item card will take the label, which will be body temperature, and the value, which will be something like this, where I see EL dot body temperature. Then I'll append the assigned to it. Okay, great. Okay, so maybe we can just create that component here. I think this the only place we need it's item card. Oh, okay, so I get these suggestions. Okay, so I'll need the label and this, and they're all strings. Okay, great. And here I'm just going to say that it should take width of full. Okay, great. And inside, I'll just put a paragraph which will show the value. Okay, and the label will also be in a paragraph tag. Okay, so let's start them. This will be test of LG, right? On Excel, test of Excel, and a font of medium. Okay, so this will also be SM and the test base, okay, and the test of gray 500. I think that's pretty cool. Great. Okay, so this is supposed to be label. Great. So yeah, I don't think we should see anything for now because we don't have any data. Okay, great. So once we're done with this, the rest will just be, I'll just duplicate this 3 more times. Okay, this one will be blood pressure. Okay, so great. I don't know about. Okay, yeah, it's okay. So here it's be the systolic over the diastolic. Yes, yes, great. And this one should be heart rate. Okay, so here I'm also gonna okay, so I think there's a heart rate. Okay, yeah, that's right. Okay, great. Okay, so I will not need the extra one. I think this should be fine. Okay, great. Now below this div, okay, so below this one, I'm going to give another one with also classes of grade. Okay, so grade column 1, and okay, so the same like the first one. And also here, I'm also going to put the item cards. Okay, so the first one will be the weight, right? The next one will be the height, and the third one will be the BMI. But I want to change the third one. Okay, so the third one, I'm going to say this. Okay, so here I'm also going to say it should be of, oh my goodness. Okay, so this one also take a width of full. Okay, so another div with class name of flex, gap of x of 2, and items to center. I'm going to give a paragraph tag which will say BMI. Okay, so let me start this. Okay, so this will also be test of LG. Yeah, it's for medium. And now a span tag here. The span tag will take, so I'll put parentheses, then I'll put the status in it like this. Okay, so this is the status. So the status will be inside parentheses. And now the class should be test of SM and the font of medium. Okay, so I will not need all of this. So font of medium, great. Now I am going to put a style here. So style, great. So style like this. So double parentheses, and I'll just say color, right, should be equal to color code. Okay, great. Okay, so this is the end of that one. And we'll have another div, okay, which will also take 3 more. And the first one will be of respiratory rate. Okay, so dot, I think, respiratory rate. Yeah, okay. I don't know the unit, so yeah. And okay, if it doesn't, we can just put this also. Okay, the next one will be the oxygen saturation. Okay, oxygen saturation, also Na. I also don't know the unit, so yeah, I'll not put any unit. And the last one will be okay, so the last one will be the date. So reading date. Yes, the date for which in which the reading was done. Okay, great. So the created at date, and for that one, it will surely exist. Should, yeah. Even that one, we can remove all of this, and let me call the format date from date FNS and just format it like this. I also need the time. Okay, great. So I think that is it. And maybe just before the end, I can put the separator. I don't know if I install the separator. Okay, I'm not sure I did. So what we can do is we can go to CN. Okay, CN. Okay, and search for separator. Okay, so yes, I'm using npm. So open another terminal and just paste the code and install. Okay. Okay, so if you're watching this in the future, to avoid errors, maybe you can stick to the versions that are used. So you can check the code from GitHub and make sure in the package.json you're using the same versions, right? You can also, upgrade it, and if you get any problem, refer to the documentation. Okay, great. Okay, so I believe it should be ready by now. It's still not coming. So separator. Okay, so from UI separator, great. So maybe we can also give class like this where we say margin top of 4. Great. Maybe something like that. Okay. Great. So now let's go to how we can add this button here. Okay, so we're going to create a form, but before then, we'll need to check if the patient, right? So, okay, so let's say it's patient. So I'm going to say await check row. Great. And I'll pass in patient. Okay, great. So if the user is a patient, then you don't have to see that. So if it's patient, this will be true, right? And if it is true, you don't have to see this, right? So we just say it's patient. Okay, so if it's patient means if patient is true, then you see this. So I'll just put exclamatory mark here. So false value of it, right? Okay, great. Okay, so this will also be a dialog form. So maybe I can put it here. That says add Vital Signs.tss. Okay, so yeah. So now I can go to this page, and instead of this, I'll import that one. Make sure imported. Okay, so let's see the information we'll have to pass through it. Okay, so it's going to be a model, and sometimes model, when you pass values to it, you reset it, but you still open it and get the values. So in order to tell React to always destroy it and create a new one when we close and open it, we can pass something called a key, right? And the key, I'm going to use date, so that whenever we open it again, it will be a new one. So new date, right, dot get time, right, so that it will be new all the time. So yeah, we don't have to worry about. So here, it's a patient ID, which will be the patient ID. Great. Okay, so yeah, we have the patient ID. We also have the maybe doctor ID. Okay, so doctor ID, appointment ID will also be the ID. And now we can also have the medical record. So the medical record, what I'll do is that I'll check if this data exists, then I'll pass it, else I'll pass now. Okay, great. So I'll first check if the data exists, then I pass the ID. If no, I pass this. Okay. I have some error in this file. I don't know where. Okay, so maybe we can tell them that all of these values will be there by placing this. And I think this is supposed to be note and not notes. Okay, great. Okay, so here now we can go here and yeah. So first let's get the types. So interface this. Okay, so we'll get the patient ID, this, that, and this, as we said, can be optional sometime, right? Okay, so the appointment ID, doctor ID, and this, yes, everything is there. The appointment ID, yeah, okay, no worries. It's okay, we have them here. Okay, so in here, I'll just bring a couple of things. So this will need the loading. We'll also need the router from Nest Navigation, right? Okay, so I'll also bring the Vital Signn, so the schema. Okay, let's stick to what we're doing. So maybe I'll put that one inside the schema file. So I don't think we have it already. Vitals, okay, so here, okay. So I'll just put the Vital Signs here. So here we're also calling it a Vital schema, right? Where we'll have the patient ID, the medical ID, the body temperature, the heart rate, the systolic, diastolic, and all of these values. Okay, and some of them are optional. Okay, so here, okay, so we can also create type here. I want to export it, by saying that export type, Vital form. Okay, yeah, okay. Data, yeah, that's fine. So let me import this from, great. Okay, that's fine. So here, now we have this. So we can create the form by saying cons form equal to use form from React hook. Okay, where we'll pass in the schema generic type, right? This that we have created up here. And inside here, we'll also need the resolvers coming from Zod resolvers, resolver dot slash Zod. Yes, and pass the schema to it. I apologize. Okay, great. Then we also get the patient ID, which will be the ID here, the medical ID. That's if it exists, it will be this. And the appointment ID will also be this. And I think we also need the doctor ID. I don't think we'll need a doctor ID here, but now the rest, body temperature. Okay, so React is, the form should be controlled. So temperature and the rest. So maybe I can just put undefined here, undefined. Okay, great. Okay, so these are the fields. So you need to, bring the fields and just put now or undefined for now, so that we can control the form. Okay. So here we can also have handle on submit function. Okay, so yes, we'll get the data, which is also of this type. Okay, so here we're also going to use a dialog. So you're aware of dialog. Okay, great. And each dialog do have the trigger. Okay, so we have the trigger, dialog trigger imported from UI dialog, and inside this I'm placing a button, import from UI, and I'm also adding a plus icon from from Lucid React with the test Vital Signn. Okay, great. So if we go to check, I think we should see something on the screen. Okay, so we are greeted with the same error. So I think by now you know how we can solve it. Just make this a client component. Okay, great. So yes, okay, so we can continue this. Now we can have the dialog content. Okay, and each dialog content needs to have the header, right? Okay, so make sure you import the header as well as the title. Okay, great. Okay, and if we go to check, okay, let me reload and see. Okay, so we have this way. So if I click on this, now you can see we have this. Okay, great. But I don't think this is a great experience. So let's go and see how we can fix that. So that one should be somewhere here. So maybe here we can say this. If this, yeah, will be there. Or we say dots to string. Okay, string. Okay, that's right. And what we can do is that maybe, yes, we can start this here and say it should be flex, justify between an items to center, just to kind of put them to side by side. Okay, so let's see. Oh, okay, justify to between. Okay, let's specify that flex of row. Okay, great. So this is what we want. Okay, good. Now let's continue here. Okay, so here you can also put description, right? And write in something, yeah. Okay, great. So yeah, below the header, now we can put the form. Okay, so make sure you import this form from UI form. Okay, then now we can put this HTML form inside. Okay, so you know how we have been creating forms, so yeah, no need to waste much time here. So space of y of 8. Okay, so what we're going to do is that now I'm going to put a div where this div, I have classes that will say that it should be flex, items to center, and a gap of 4. Okay, so flex. Okay, so inside this, now we can use our custom input that we created, right? Okay, still remember it's there. So I will just bring it and just import. Okay, so like this, import. And the first one will be of type input. We'll pass the control, body temperature, the label will be this. Okay, and that's all. Okay. We'll also bring another 2 columns. Okay, great. So also another 2 columns for the systolic and the diastolic, right? Great. And I also have another 2 columns. Okay, so this one will also be for the weight and the height. And lastly, we'll have that of the oxygen respiratory rate and the oxygen saturation. Okay, great. Now below this, but still inside the form, then we'll have the button. Okay, make sure you import from okay, so great. Okay, so if it's loading, we'll just say adding, else then we'll just say submitting, right? Else say submit. Okay, great. Great. So we can now go up here and can now fix on the handle submit function. Okay, great. So okay, so we have the appointment action. Appointment action. I think it's this one. Okay, so in here, I want to add. Okay, great. So export. Okay, let me be consistent here. So async function, add vital signs. Okay, great. So I have it like this. Now I'm not going to take the type I will take the vital signs data. Yes, great. Okay, so the type that we created in that form, which is here. This type, I think it's, yeah, this one. Okay, that's what we have imported here. Okay, good. Okay, so this one, that is what we have imported here. Okay, so that we have the types. Okay, great. On error, perhaps we can just console log and return this. Okay, so now let's also do validate the data by using, I'll use the pass and I'll import this vital signs schema. Okay, so vital signs schema, then I pass it again. Okay, do not always trust the data from the client side. Okay, yes, okay, let me mention this. Now, when we're using server actions, you know, a lot of people do make mistake, and I think we didn't even cover it right from the beginning of the tutorial, right? When you create server action, it creates a public route, right? Handler, like the one we use in the API route, right? A similar thing is created. So I think in NextJs, the documentation, they said that we should treat it with the security cautious like we treat with the API route, right? Okay, so it creates a public route where this action will run, right? So before you add, maybe in the, okay, the assignment I'll give you is that make sure that you always check that the person trying to do this action is logging. So perhaps you can say const maybe user equal to maybe await, right? Is it current user or, yeah, I think I've forgotten, or use auth. Or maybe we can use the, yes, we can use the auth like this from Clerk NextJS server, right? So here we'll get the user ID. Okay, so if the user, great. If there is no user ID, we can just return that unauthorized, right? Great. So make sure that all the server actions, you make something like this to avoid, you know, people who are not authenticated to use the resources. Okay, great. So you can just create something like this, just copy it and make sure. And in the situations where you want to check if the person is admin to have access to it, you can also use the util where we check the role to make sure that perhaps, you know, because we have admin routes like this. So let's say here to create a new staff, first you may want to check if the user person is logged in. So like this, for instance, where you say await auth, right? And make sure you import this from Clerk NextJS. Then maybe you may want to check that const is admin. Okay, so something like this where you can say await check is check row, right? For instance, great, and admin, right? Okay, so if the person is not an admin, then you just return that unauthorized, right? So here you can also check if the user ID does not exist, also unauthorized. So just make sure you do something like this to protect the various server actions. Okay, great. Now, if you also want to take this project further, maybe you can implement things like rate limiting, right? Okay, so yeah, so I'll close this, I'll close that. So yeah, you can do something like that. Okay, but for now, let's continue. Okay, so once we're done with that, so maybe from now, if we create any server action, we'll do these things. Okay, great. Now we've also validated the data. So what we can do is that, okay, so we have this. So DB, I think it's imported already, dot vitalsigns.create. Okay, great. Okay, so we'll say this. Okay, this ought to be small. Okay, but before then, we're looking at a situation like, if you remember, if you go here, we're saying that sometime the medical ID can exist or it can be null. So if there is no medical ID, and you know that this vital signs is connected to the medical records, meaning if there is no medical records, there is no way we're going to save this because we'll need the medical ID to save this. So before we save this, we'll have to check, right? We just say let medical record, okay, record be null. Okay, great. So okay, so we just say medical record should be null. So now we can check that if validated data, right, dot medical ID exists. So if the medical ID exists, meaning that there's a medical record for that patient, therefore we just say medical record okay, so let's check the opposite rather. So if there is no medical ID, meaning that we just want to see, okay, that we have to create a new medical record dot create. Okay, so if the record that we send from the front end, if it doesn't have the medical ID, meaning that that medical record does not exist, so we cannot create vital signs on that record. So we just need to first get the medical record, right? Okay. First create one. So just create one, say data. Okay. Where we'll say patient ID. Okay, I think okay, so we need patient ID will be this, that patient ID. We also need the doctor ID, which was also this, and the appointment ID. And the appointment ID supposed to be a number. So I'll say this. Okay, so I don't think I'm getting the appointment ID. Okay, so we'll have one problem, and I'm going to make it that appointment ID will also be a string here. So I'll put appointment ID here. great. So this and this data will also not have the doctor ID. I'm not sure. So, okay, let's also add the doctor ID. Yes, and now we'll change it to doctor ID also here. Okay, great. So this will help us to create the medical record. And once we have the medical record, now we can come here, right? Okay. So now we can see that maybe cons med ID should be equal to validated data.med ID or medical records.id. Okay. Okay, so if this one does not exist, then we fall to this one. Okay, so here, okay, so now we can say that we'll spread this and also add the medical ID. Okay, so string undefined cannot be assigned. So I'll just put this to make sure it will be there. And okay, I think it also ought to be a number. Okay, so something like this. Great. Then once we're done, we can now send a response of success. Yes, great. Okay, so we can now go and call this function here. Okay. Okay, so inside this, I'm going to create a try catch. Okay, so here if there's an error, we'll console log the error as well as use the toast, which is coming from sonar.error, right? This, okay. And we can also do the finally and set the is loading to false. Okay, great. So here I set is loading to true, and now I can call. Okay, so I think I have this. So I'll call this function that we just created, pass the data that we are receiving from here, pass the appointment ID, which is this, and also pass the doctor ID, which is here. Great. Okay, so if it's success, then we just toast the message. If also an error occur, we just also toast the error. Okay, great. So we having an error from somewhere. Okay, I think it's up here. Oh, okay, this ought to be false. Yes. Okay, and where again? Okay, I'm getting a warning from somewhere. I think it's this Zod. Let me see if I've imported the Zod. Okay, I don't think so. So now I think everything should work fine. Okay. Okay, let's see if the error goes away. Okay, so here. Okay, so I don't think there is an appointment part of that validation. Okay. Okay, great. So now we're free. Okay, so if I okay, let me reload first. Okay, so if I click here and click this, okay, so the validations are working. Okay, let's do a quick fix. Let's go to the bottom and let's make it full, right? Okay, so class width of full. Okay, so the validations are working well. Okay, so here, body temperature 37. Oh, okay, let's try it again. So 37. And this one, okay, as I told you, that's in a range. So yeah, that is what I came up with. I'll just put anything here, put anything here. Okay, and press on this and let's see. Okay, so we get unauthorized error. Okay, great. So you see, that's a way you can protect your server actions, right? Okay. Okay, let's go here, come here and see. So here we're getting the user. If there is no user, okay, so I don't know why, but I'm just gonna console log the user ID. Okay, so let me try again. If I hit this, Let's see. Oh, okay. So it's true. It gone through now. So if I check on my terminal, I think I should have the user ID. Okay, I didn't get the ID too. Okay, where from this logs do I still have that thing here? Oh, okay, I still have this thing here. So let me do away with this. Okay, great. I think it went through. Went through. Okay, let me add another one and see. Okay, so put anything. Yeah. Oh. Just put any values in there. Okay, so if I go here again, okay, I'm still getting this information logged. Okay, so this is the ID. Yeah, so I think it's working. Okay, so here, I can now remove the ID. Okay, so here, okay, I don't know why it didn't come, but let me refresh and see. Okay, so now we have two. Okay, I think I know why. Okay, so what we can do is that the router that we have, right? We'll use the router. When it's success, yes, we give the toast and we just say router dot refresh. Great. So when we add, it should be refreshed automatically. Yeah, I think that should be the good practice. Okay. So let's load it first. Okay, so let's add a new one and see. Okay, so I don't know why am I getting this error. It says that it's changing. Okay, so that's the then I told you that the inputs are controlled. So I don't know which one, but let's see. So yeah. Okay, so these are numbers, right? Okay, so numbers we cannot put we cannot put now there, right? So undefined should be fine. So okay, I also do not want to put zeros there. So okay, let's go on. Okay, yeah, put anything. Nah. Okay, I want to put that one. Yeah, I actually don't know that one. So okay, so it's gone through, right? Okay, and we're still getting that same error, I think. Right, okay. Okay, and now it has been refreshed. Okay, so now we have, I think we have 3, and now you can see the, so I think the calculations are working, because we're able to get them. Okay. Okay, so if I go to chat now, let's try the chat and see. Great, beautiful. So now we have the charts here, and we also have this between the value 1 and value 2, right? Okay, great. Okay, and you see we have one issue here. You can see that the average is very long, and we need to do something. Okay, so we're done with this. Okay, so we're done with this and this. Okay, so inside the chat container, I think it's this one here, where we have the average. Yeah, I think it's this. So I can just say to fixed of 2. Yeah. I don't think here is appropriate. Where am I getting the, okay, so maybe here, before we even get here, this is still a string. Okay, so before, okay, this, so before we get here, okay, so I'll say this. Okay. Okay, so let's see something. This average. Okay, so I think what we can do is here instead. Dot. to fix, then to fix here too. Then maybe here, we can do same here. Right, okay, yeah. I think that should be fine. Let's see. Okay, so I think this is more readable than the first one. Okay, great. So yeah, so now we have this and we have appointments. Okay, great. And the vitals also works. Okay, great. So, okay, so, okay, so appointments. So, okay, I've noticed a problem. So in the quick links, quick links. Okay, so the vitals should be vitals. It should be appointments. Okay, great. Okay, so I can close the rest. Okay, and now we move to the billing and the other stuff. Okay, so let's continue with the diagnosis. So diagnosis here also will pass the ID, right, which will be the ID. We will also pass the patient ID. Okay, also the doctor ID. Okay, so like this. Okay. So here we'll go to the same folder, appointment, and put diagnosis container.tss. Okay, export cons diagnosis container. Okay, great. And we can now come here and import it. Great. So now let's go and accept the props. Okay, so here, how shall I put it? Okay, let me just say patient ID. Okay, so the patient ID and the doctor ID, they are all going to be okay, so the patient and the doctor ID, they all be strings. Okay, so here let us also try to fetch the medical records, right? So here we'll say that if user, okay, so let's try it to check if the person is logged in or not. So for that reason, this should be an async function. Okay, so user ID. Okay, so yeah, if there is no user, we can say you are not. Yeah, or maybe we can just redirect. Okay, so redirect, import it from Next Navigation, and we'll just redirect to sign in. I think, yeah. Okay, but if there is the user, then we can now fetch the data saying, okay, so await db from libs db dot, okay, so medical records dot find first. Okay, we want to find the first one. Okay, great. Where appointment ID equal to this. Okay, so the ID, this ID. Okay, great. Now we include, I'm going to include the diagnosis. And in the diagnosis, I also want to include, okay, so in the diagnosis, I want to include the doctor. Okay, great. Okay, so yes, so in the medical record, we want to include the diagnosis, and inside the diagnosis, we also want to include the doctor. Okay, so this, okay, so here we can also order the diagnosis, right, by created date in descending order. Okay, great. And now we can also order all the medical records so in descending order. Great. So here we can also get now sequence diagnosis should be equal to data as this dot diagnosis, else we'll just say it should be now. Okay, so else it should be now. So now we can now return a div. Okay, so now that we have this, okay, so we can come here and check if diagnosis exists, right? We want to check and see if the length is equal to 0. Okay, so let's do it like this. So if the length is equal to 0, okay, so it can also be null. So perhaps we can say else if there is no, okay, or like this, okay. So if there is no diagnosis, we are not going to show this test. We'll rather put a div here, right? Okay. Great. And inside this div, oh my goodness. Okay, so like this. Great. And inside this div, let me first give classes to this. So this is going to be flex column, items to center, and a justify to center as well as margin top of 20. Okay. And in here, I'm going to put no data found component. Okay, which will take a note. Then the note will be that no diagnosis found. Okay, so once I put that, and below it, I'll put, okay, below it, then I also put the add diagnosis form, right? Okay, which will take, okay, so I think it will take the patient ID, the doctor ID, and the appointment ID. And also I want it to reset, so the same format we use, new date, right, dot get time. Yeah, great. So to forcefully reset it. And so we have the key, I have the patient ID, I have the doctor ID, I have the appointment ID, and let me also get the medical ID. Okay, so the medical ID, I will check. Okay, yeah, or let's say nothing. Okay, so like this. Great. So let's first check the no data form. So maybe inside the component, the main component has a no data found. Okay, so I think the name is a little bit funny, but okay, so I say export cons no data found. Okay, so here it's just okay, so I'm getting this icon from React icons. Okay, so this icon is from React icons. I'm just saying the height, the width, height should be full width or full flex column center. You know, I just want to put it in the center. I show the icon and also the note, right? Okay, so the note perhaps can be optional. So okay, so I'll just import this. Great, and I'll comment this for now, and let's check and see. Okay, so if I click on diagnosis, the URL should be updated to diagnosis. Then, okay, so okay, let me reload it and see first. Okay, so now diagnosis, and let's see. Okay, so now we have this. Okay, so if there is no diagnosis, we need to add a button that the doctor will be able to add diagnosis. Okay. Okay, so that comes this one, right? Okay, so this one will add it inside this place that is add diagnosis .tss rafc. Let me just say export cons add diagnosis. Okay, and now we can import. Okay, here. Okay, so can close this, and now here we'll need to get the interface. So interface. Okay, so we take in the patient ID, doctor ID, this and that, and now we destruction them from here. Okay, great. And this is going to be a form, so you should know that we'll just use client here, lest we forget. Okay, great. Okay, so okay, so here I also get my schema. Okay, so schema, then down here I'll put that one. Okay, so patient ID, right? We're still using patient ID, medical. Okay, so here we're also using Zod to create it. We have the patient ID, the medical ID, the doctor ID, the symptoms, diagnosis, notes, prescription, and this. Okay, so yeah, we will not be able to create a separate table for prescription, but you can do that, right? Once you know how the system works. Okay, so here we can now come here and yes, above here we can just say export type data. Okay, great, using Zod. So let's import Zod first. Oh, okay, now import Zod. Okay, so Zod is imported, and let's also import this schema. Okay, great. Okay, great. So here, let's say we'll also have loading, and it's loading. That's a use state use state. Okay, great. And I believe we also need the router, which is use router from Nest navigation. Okay, great. Now we also need the form, which will be a use form from React hook. Great. We'll pass the so we'll pass the type, the generic type of the type that we've created here. We'll also need the resolver, which is sort resolver. Then we'll pass in the schema. Then the various options that we'll need here, the patient ID, medical ID, doctor ID, and the other information here. Okay, great. Okay, so I think there's a follow-up, something plan. Okay, great. That one is missing. Okay, so here, let's also do the handle on submit function. Okay, so something like this. Great. Okay, so now let's go to the form. In the form, we're going to use the dialog as we have been using. Yeah. So dialog from UI dialog. Okay, great. And we'll need the trigger. So dialog trigger. So dialog trigger, which will act as a child because we'll put a button in it. Okay. Then we'll put a button of add diagnosis, which we'll also import from here, from UI. Okay. And we'll also add the plus icon, right? Okay. So this plus icon, which is coming from Lucid React. Okay, great. Okay, so this button, we can add a variant, and the variant should be outline. Okay, great. And I'm going to change the size to be LG. Okay, great. And the class of BG blue. Okay, blue dash 600 and a test of white. Margin top of also 4. Okay. Okay, so I'm getting an error that React children only expect, I think a single argument. So I don't know where. Okay, so this is 1, and this is also 1. Okay, so where? Okay, so the container, it's 1, and here it's also 1. Okay, yes, I think it's here. So this plus button needs to be inside the button. Okay, great. So this expects only 1 argument or 1 child. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I think that's it. Okay, so let's refresh it and see. Okay, so we have it this way. Okay, so if we click on it, I think nothing will happen. Okay, great. So we can continue from here. So from here, we'll need the dialog content. Okay, and inside it, I'll have this type header. Okay, so this header, just say add new diagnosis. Okay, and this description. Okay, you can put whatever you want in there. Okay. Okay, and okay, so we have it this way. So let's give some specific width and styles to this div. Sorry, content, right? Dialog. Okay, so say that on SM, we want the max width of I'm going to use percentages, so I'll say 60%. Okay, great. 60% and on to Excel, I want the max width of also 40%. Okay, great. So if I go check, okay. Okay. Okay, so I think, yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. Okay, so if it's also small on 2XL and you want to make it like maybe 50, you can, yeah. Okay, so let's place some content in it. Okay, great. So after this header, we can now have the form which is coming from UI. Okay, so like this. And let's make sure we import it from UI form. Okay, and inside this, I'm going to put the HTML form, which takes the handle submit using the form that we have created and passing the handler to it. Okay, great. So, yes. So here, okay, so we're also going to give some spacing. So I'll just say class name, space y of 6, yeah, or 4, 5, no, 6. Okay, so I'll just put this, right? Okay, so I'll just put this, okay, and I'll make sure I import this from our component. Okay, so we're passing it as a test area. It should be the symptoms, right, with the name and stuff. Okay, great. And I think I can just copy them since it's the same thing, right? Okay, so I also have this, which is also a test area for the diagnosis, and I have this, which is also a test area for the prescribed medication, right? Okay, then I'll have another one. Okay, so we've another one, which will be for also a text area for the note, and this will be for the follow-up plan. And we can have a bottom below it, but still within the form, we can have a bottom like this, where we call, is it pending? I think loading. Okay, great. So something like this. Okay, so yeah, nothing special. Okay, great. So if we go to our form, I think we should see, okay. Okay, so if you ever encounter this of GWT sign issue something from Clerk, I think the easiest thing is that you go to your time, right, and adjust. You can check on the below your notification, right, and click on adjust date and time, right, which will bring your settings like this, right? It should bring your settings like this, and just click on sync now, right? Yeah, okay, sync now like this. Okay, great. So once done, maybe you can just close this. Okay. Okay, so whilst it is loading, let's continue with the function here. Okay, so here we'll have to go inside, there's the diagnosis, so we need to create a new diagnose. Okay, so let's look for the medical, do we have medical action? Okay, I'm not sure we have an action for medical records. So here, where is the actions? Okay, so I'm going to create one for medical.ts, and I'll say use server at the top, and I'll export cons add, okay, diagnosis. Okay, and this one, I'm going to import this from the diagnose form there. Great. Okay, so here we're going to use try catch. Okay, let me put the catch first. So console log the error, right? And also a return that something went wrong. Okay, so in here, we can also validate the data. Validate data using the diagnosis schema, right? And pass the data to it, right? Oh, we have to see pass. Great, great. So this will have okay, so we'll have all the fields in here. Okay, So here, we also need to check if there is the medical record exists. So medical record, go to now at the start. Okay, so if this data, if you hover over it, right, you can see that it has medical ID. So we can say if the validated data.medical ID. Okay, so if it does not exist, right? Okay, so exclamatory mark. If it does not, we'll import this and say medical record.find. Now we need not to find, we need to create. Okay, so let's create one. Okay, so we'll create one, passing the patient ID. Okay, as this. Okay, I have some suggestions. I think a lot of them are not needed. Okay, great. So this data, I don't think it has the appointment ID. I'm not sure. It does not. Okay, so we can also pass the appointment ID, which is a string. Okay, so we pass the appointment ID here, but I think the data has the doctor ID already. Yeah, yes, the doctor. Okay, it's there. Okay, so once we do it like this, we get it. We can say that cons med ID should be this. Okay, I'm going to say the validated data.medical ID or this. Great. Okay, so now that we have this, we can now create the diagnosis. So db.diagnosis.create. Okay, great. We're gonna say data. Okay, I don't know if the validated fields will match. Then also pass the medical ID. Yes, I believe it will match. Okay. Yes. So I think this one ought to be a number. Okay, so like this. Great. And when it is successful, we'll return. Okay, great. Should I also, oh, no. Let me just return the status of 200. Okay. Okay, so now we can go here and in a try catch. Okay, so if error occur, we console log, then we use toast from Sona to console log the error. And finally, we can say set loading to false. Okay, so here we set it to true. We call on this. Okay, pass the data and the appointment ID, and we check. Okay, so if okay, I'm going to say success of true, and I'll go back and say, okay, so this is a message and success true. Okay, so here, okay, so if success is true, we'll give a toast, refresh the, okay, great. Else, we can also give a toast of error. Okay, great. So if it goes through, then, I mean, we show this. That's right. Okay. Something is wrong somewhere. Maybe I might have some extra parenthesis, which is here. Great. Okay, so here, it's an error of this. Okay, it's gone. Okay, so make sure this, you also say it's as a string. Okay, great. So we can try it. Okay. Okay, so we can try it. So diagnosis. Okay, so yeah. So this is 50%. If it's, I think it's very big for me. So I'll go in here and change the 50 to 40. 40% of the screen. Okay. I said 40. Okay, yeah, this is 40. So symptoms, I would say something here. I don't know what to say. Diagnosis also test. Okay. Yeah, I don't know what to say. You can just put the prescription. If there be any follow-up plan, you can put all of them and just click on this. And let's see. Okay, it went through successfully. Great. So you can see that bottom has now disappeared, meaning, yeah, we have the record. Okay, so now Let's come back. We can leave this and even leave this and leave that. Okay, so here when we have the data, what we're going to do is now we're going to show the data. Great. Okay, I'm going to use a section here. Great. I'm going to have this, and I'll say a space of y of 6. Okay, so inside here, I'm going to use card. Okay, each card has a header and a title. Okay, so import card header and import title. Okay, so here what I'm going to do is that I'll have the title as this. Okay, so should I say medical records? Okay, great. Medical records. Then I'm also going to put a button here where we can add more of the records. But then I'll first check if the person is not a patient, right? Okay, so I'm going to say is patient equal to await check row, right? Okay, so yeah. Okay, so we're here. Yes, I'll check that. Great. Then I'll call this form again, right? Okay, good. But now we need to make this flex of row, item center, and justify to between. Okay, let's see. Okay, so something like this. So medical records, then the bottom is supposed to be here. Okay, so I think yes. Okay, so I need to put the exclamation mark here. Okay, great. Okay, so it's here, and I can click on it and add more. Okay, great. So great. So now that we have this, we can now show the rest, right? Which will be inside. We can have the card content. Okay, great. So in the card content, okay, let me import this, right? Okay. So in the card, I'm going to say diagnosis dot map, right? Where I'll get each item. Let me call it record. Well, I'll get each record. Okay. And I will return a div. Okay, like this, where the key should be record.id. Oh, this ought to be like this. Okay, so record.id. Okay, and inside it, I'm going to call the medical history component. Oh, do I have that component already? Okay, so medical history card. Yeah, I don't think they're the same. So medical history card, where I'll pass the elements. Okay, let me make it record as record. And yeah, I think so. Okay, so I'm also going to take an index from here and use it for something else. I will not encourage you to use this index here as a key, right? Yes, as much as lies in your power, always use the unique keys here, and don't use this one. It's okay. So I'm going to say index equal to ID here. Okay, so we are still within this component. So I'm going to say medical history card, TSS, sport cons, medical history card. Okay, I think my AI is doing a lot. Okay, so yeah. Okay, so yeah, so I'm getting the records and I'm getting this. Okay, so the record will be an extended props. So I'm just going to say interface extended medical record, which will extend medical records from it will extend diagnosis instead. Okay, or diagnosis, yes. We'll extend the diagnosis and add the doctor, which will be equal to doctor from Prisma client. Okay, so here instead of NA, we can have the extended medical records. I hope you understand. Okay, great. So here, let me import. Oh, I've created something new. Here, let me import card from card, UI card. Okay, great. So now I can import this here. Okay, great. So here, so card, we're gonna say shadow of none. Okay, great. Okay, so inside this, I'm gonna put a div with a class name of space dash y dash 6 and a pt of also 4. Okay, great. So inside this, now we're going to show the various information about the diagnosis. Okay, so a div with classes, flex, gap x of 6, and justify to between. Okay, so another div, and inside this div, we have a span tag, which will say appointment ID. Okay, so I'm going to say the text should be SM and gray 500. Okay, so below it, I'm going to have a paragraph tag, which will show the record dot appointment record dot ID. Okay, so here I'm just going to say that one should also be font medium, test of Excel. Okay, I'm just going to say Excel and see. Okay, let's see. Okay, so we have this appointment ID and the ID itself is here. Okay, so maybe we can just put hash, yeah, something like this. Okay, so gap. Okay, now below this div, I'm going to say that if the index that I'm getting is equal to 0, right? Okay, if the index is equal to 0, I want to render a div. Oh, okay. Okay, so div, and inside that div, that's what I'm going to put in. I'm going to put a span tag that will say recent. That's all. Okay, so here I'm going to say px of 4, py of 2. No, let me say height of 8. Test will be centered, and bg of blue dash 100, rounded dash full. Okay, font of semi bold. Yes, and a test of blue dash 600. Yeah, good. Okay, so I just want to show that this is the recent appointment. Okay, so we'll have it here. Okay, so okay, let me try adding one, another one, enter, and okay, so yeah, it goes through. So now you can see we have two. So this is the recent one, and this one will have it. Okay, so that's what I'm trying to do. Okay, great. Okay, so below, so I'll have another div, and that div will also have a span, which will say date, and the other one will be, yeah, okay, this, and I'm going to put medical record date. Okay, so yeah, something like this. So this one should be in the middle, this one should be in the middle here, and the date should come here. Okay, okay, so like this. Great. So I think that's this. And here, okay, I want to bring a separator. Okay, great. And now I'll bring another div. So this div will also have a span, which will take the diagnosis itself. So I'm going to say diagnosis. Okay, Then great. So this be okay. So this one will not be that big. Okay. So here I'm gonna say it should be LG instead. Great. So LG. Then font of I think it can be same, and test that muted foreground. Okay, great. So something like this. Okay, so this, yeah, okay. So we have it like this, right? Okay, so yeah, this is the diagnosis, and this is also the diagnosis here. So I think that we can go here, and between the items, right, we can just say space y-8 like this to have some spacing between each card, right? Okay. Yeah, like this. I think that's fair. Okay. Okay, so here I'm also going to bring the separator again. Okay, so we'll have another one, and that one will be for the symptoms. So I'm going to say symptoms. I hope I've spelled it correctly. Okay, and this will be symptoms. Okay, so separator and another one. Okay, so after the symptoms, additional note. So here I'm going to put additional note. Yeah. So this one will be the notes. Okay, so pretty simple. And after the note, okay, after the note, I'll just put here the doctor and be the doctor name. Okay. So here I'm going to do something else. Okay, let me cut this. So I'll put the doctor name, and in a span tag, I'll also put the record dot doctor dot specialization. Okay, great. Let's go and see. Okay, so I'll put the doctor. Where is the doctor? Okay, great. So there's the doctor and the specialization over here. Okay, so that's it. I believe that's all. So yeah, so that's the diagnosis. And what again is left, we can close this. And now we move to the bills and the payments. Okay. Okay, so medical history. Okay, let me move this one up and comment it. And I don't know if I have. Okay, so I think I have a component already for medical history container. Okay, let me see if we have it already. Okay, the medical history container will take okay, let me import this and see. Okay, so it's supposed to take the ID and the patient ID. Okay, and I think that is it. So this will take the ID here. Okay, great. Then the patient ID. Okay, oh, great. So patient ID will also be that of data dot patient ID. Okay, this and also this. Okay, yeah. Oh, okay, I think that is it. Let's see if that's work. So I'll go to medical history, click on medical history and see. Oh, okay, so we have it here. Okay, and if you click on this particular record, it will come back to this same page, right? Because if you check the URL at the down here, you see that it goes to record and appointment and appointment ID. Okay, great. So I think that's pretty fast. Yeah. Okay, so let's go do with the bills. Okay, so bill, so the bills container. Oh yeah. Let me make it a bills container. I don't think we have that. Okay, so that will also take the ID. And that's all. Okay, so components, appointment, and okay. So bills container .tss export cons bills container. Okay, which does take, okay, it takes ID, which is of type string. This query does not exist. Okay. So here, okay. So now we can now fetch the data also here. Great, will be await db from libs.payment. Great, dot find many. Not find first. Great. Okay, so the difference between the find unique and the find first is that the find first will find, if you hover over it, you know that it will fetch the records and the first one. You see, meaning that there can be multiple records that matches the same query. However, it will take the first one. So let's say if it returns an array, it is the first one that will be taken, right? Okay, so if you have records with same where condition, but you want to take the first one, you can use the find first, right? The one that matches it first will be taken. Okay. So where appointment ID should be equal to number, then ID. Okay, great. So include, what are we including? We're going to include bills. True. Okay, great. Okay, let me also do this. Inside the bills, let me also include the services, right? Great. So in the services, we can select the various fields that we want. We want the service name, true, and yeah, I think, okay, let's just also take the ID. Yeah. Okay, so we are including the bills, and in the bill we also want to include the bill has its the service has the service name, so we want to include that. Okay, so the bills ends here, so we can say order by. Great, created at date in ASC. Okay. Okay. Okay, so here we can also fetch the services data from here. Okay, so we can also say cons services data should be equal to db await db dot services. Great, dot find many. Okay, great. So find many, and that's all. But you see that this condition will run first, then it will come to this. But there's a better way we can do it. This too, by just say cons, right? Okay, so where we use promise.all, right? Okay, so promise.all, then we just bring this one here. We bring it here. Then the second one, which is this, also bring this one after. Okay, so these two will be fetched parallel. Okay, great. Okay. Okay, so we can now see let total bills be equal to 0. Okay. Let's say cons bill data should be equal to data dot bills. Okay, now let me make this as data. Okay, then I will say this should be services data. Okay, so data dot bills. Okay, great. If it does not exist, we just put an empty yes of array. Okay, so now let's find this. Let's also find for if there be any discount. So we're going to say cons discount equal to data dot no, I'm going to say if data exists first. If the data exists, then I'm going to call a function called calculate discount. Okay, calculate discount, which will take the amount, which is data dot total amount. Great, and the discounts will also be data dot discount. Okay, so here I'm going to go to the index file, which is inside the utils. Okay, so here maybe I can just put that one here. Okay, the tutorial is getting long, so calculate discount, right? So we take the amount, we take this, we take the discount percentage also. But note that it's either the discount percentage or the discount amount. Yes, they are they are optional, but the amount must be there. So meaning you can use percentage or you can use the amount. Okay, so we check if there is no discount nor percentage, then we throw an error. If the two exist, right? If the discount is equal to now, meaning perhaps we're using the percentage, right? Okay. But if this is not equal to now, right? If this is not equal to now, then we just get the discount percentage should be equal to the discount, right? Divided by the amount times 100 will give us a discount percentage. Okay, then we just return that the final amount will be the amount that we have minus the discount, right? Then we'll return the discount percentage will be the discount percentage we have calculated here, then the discount amount. Likewise, if the user supplies the discount percentage, we'll use the percentage divided by 100 and multiply by the amount to get the discount amount. Then the final amount will be the amount that the user will pay minus the discount. Right, the amount the user will pay will be the total amount minus the discount. Then we send the percentage as well as the discount amount. Okay, so that's pretty simple. Okay, so here, okay, call this and pass the info to it. Okay, great. Okay, so this or now. Okay, great. So this will also help us to get a discount percentage. Okay. Okay, so the same way we have been creating the tables, so we're going to create another one. Okay, so here, so classes, BG of white. Okay, so rounded of Excel and pattern of 2, and on 2 Excel, I'm going to say P of 4. Okay, so inside this, I will just put the title that we have been doing. Okay, so we have this, right? Okay, so like we have been doing over and over again. So this is the title. So the title will be patient bills. And also want to put the icon. So this icon from Lucid React. And also want to put the length, yeah, like the total records here. Okay, and we also want to check, right? So we need to put await and check if the person is the admin, right? If it's admin or it's doctor, right? Okay, so if the person logged in is either admin or doctor, then they will see this. They can either add the bills or generate bills. Okay, so this two dot exists for now, so let me comment it. Okay, then we'll bring the table, right? Okay. Okay, so here we need this. Okay, I'll bring the table. Make sure you import the table. Okay, from tables.table. And the columns, okay, so let me get the columns. Okay, so I'm going to put the columns also up here. Okay, so these are the various columns. Okay, so there's the number, right? And there's a service name over here, the date, the service date, the quantity, the unit per price, as well as the total cost and the action. Okay, so pass this, and now we need to bring this render here. Okay, so just say const render row. Okay, so we have been creating this. The tutorial is getting long, so I think I'll just bring some of them and, yeah. Okay, so here we're getting the extended bill props, which we have up. Okay, so I don't think we have that. Okay, so let's create that quickly. So I'm going to say interface extended bill props. Okay, which will extend. It will extend. Extends. Is it? Yes, extends. Patient bills. Yes, this one, and adds the service with the service name and the ID. Great, like this. Okay, so this one here. Okay, so the data that we'll get. Okay, so first, yeah, put the key as the ID. Okay, that will show the row number, and now this. Okay, so let me also import this from datefnx. Yes. Okay, so import date from date format, sorry, from datefnx, and now format it like this. Then I'll also show the quantity, show the unit per price, then the total cost, as well as the action dialog, which I think we have already. Then I'll pass the type as bills. Okay, so I need to go inside and also add the type of bill, right? Okay, so here the delete type is called bills, so I can come here, delete type, I'll add bills to it. Great. And here now we'll go inside here. Okay, so here, great. And now we also need to add bill here. Okay, great. And yeah, so from okay, so I cannot get an error here. Okay, so discount input. Okay, so I think I need to get the discount input props. Okay, so we say it will just be this, so the amount will be a number, everything will be a number. Okay, great. Okay, great. So here we are here. Great. So then we show this. Okay. So we can check. Okay, so yeah, bill. So like this. Not this bills. Okay. So we'll also need to get the summary at the bottom, right? Okay. So getting the summary at the bottom will be like this. We need to put a separator. So I'll bring separator here. Okay. This, and I'll just put this code. Okay, let's go over it. Okay. Okay, so here we're going to show the statistics below it, right? Okay, so here we just want to put the total bills, right? So if we get the total amount, or if not, we'll just put the total bills, okay, right? We'll format it to 2, okay? And here we'll also put the discount amount, so the total discount, yes, the amount that we're getting, right? Okay, and this is the amount. I also want to put the percentage, right? Okay, so in parentheses, we want to display the percentage, right? Okay, so the amount, the discount amount given, and the percentage. Okay, great. And here we'll also disclose the final amount which we're getting from okay, let me tackle some of these things. Okay, which we're getting from this, right? The calculation we do, you know that we'll return here, you know that we'll return the final amount, the discount percentage, and the discount amount, right? Okay, so that is what we are here. So that's why we pushing the discount percentage here. And here, once we display the final amount that the user will pay, and here also will display the amount the user has paid as well as the final amount. In order to get the amount which is not paid, unpaid, we'll get the final amount payable minus the amount paid. Okay, so that's pretty simple, right? Okay. So I think it is I said billing. Oh, okay, I need to import it. Okay, great. So if I import it correctly, then I should see if we have any bills for this particular patient. Okay, so yeah, so this how we show. Great. So we're left with the last one, I think. Okay, and let's wrap up this tutorial. It's getting very long. Okay, so here I'm gonna put the payment dash container. Okay, so export cons payment container. Okay, so here. Okay, so payment container, this, and I also pass the data, which will be I'll pass patient ID, which will be this. Yeah, okay, I think that's all. So inside this here, I'll come and now accept the patient ID, okay, which is a string. Okay. Okay, so this is also going to be like a table, okay, like we have been. So here we'll also make this an async, and we'll fetch the patient payment information. So let's import this payment. We'll find many where the patient ID is this. So we'll find all. Okay, so I also bring the table columns. Okay, so I also bring the table columns. Okay, so I have the number, the bill date, the bill payment date, the total, the discount, the payable. That's the amount the person will pay, the paid, and the action. Okay, great. So as usual, we'll not waste much time here. Okay, so here also, Okay, so here, what we're doing is that, okay, so we have this div, and inside this div, we want to put okay, so we have this div, which will take the length as well as the title, right? Okay, great. So once we have the title, we can now display the table. Okay, so now that we have this, we can put a table, right? And I need to import the table. Like from tables, the columns are there, and now we need to put this render method. Okay, so the render method will also come here. Okay, so let's go over it. Okay, so here will be accepted payment, and the payment will be from Prisma client. Okay, great. So we have the ID, we have the payment number or ID. Okay, then we also have the format date here, which is coming from DataFX FS. Okay, then we show it in this format. You can choose whatever format you want. Okay, great. Then also the payment date. This is the bill date. This is the payment date. Okay, and we'll also show the total amount and the discount amount as well as the total amount. Yeah, the amount payable, which will be the total amount minus discount, and the amount paid. And we'll also have a view action. Okay, great. And when we click on that, it goes to records appointment. Then the appointment ID will be selected. Then goes straight to the bills. Okay. Yes, and here we'll also check if the person is admin or not. I'll wait. Okay, so here, yeah, check row. If it's admin, then we can have dialog actions, right? Okay, then pass this info to. Okay, so we can do it like this. Okay, we can also make it easy by doing this and just bring it up here and say cons is admin equal to this. Great, then we just pass is admin here. Okay, great. So something like this. Okay, great. So now that we have it this, I believe we are done with most of the things. Okay, so I wait. Okay, taking it off. Okay, so here, if I click on payment, okay. Okay, then we also have this payment information here. Okay, so we don't have anything for now. So I think we will end here, right? So we'll end here and deploy it. We'll not be able to do that of the labs and those things, right? Okay, but I think we can do one thing from this error. Okay, maybe one thing. Okay, so maybe quickly let's add the ability to generate the bills, right? Okay, so where was that? Supposed to be inside the bill container. Okay, so here. So these two, okay. Okay, so I'll just, yeah, bring that one here quickly. I'll paste it here. Okay, so add bills. Okay, so it's also, we're also using the same way we're creating forms, right? Okay, so yes, we have the data types here. Okay, so we will take the ID, the application ID, the appointment ID, as well as the service data, right? Okay, and the service data, it's coming from Prisma client. Okay, so we accept the props here. We have the states, and we've created the form, right? Okay, so patient bills. Okay, so that data does not exist. So okay, so I will go into the schema. Okay, and put the payment and the patient bills. Okay, so the payment will take the ID, the bill date, right, the discount, and the total amount. Okay, as well as the patient bill schema, have the bill ID, all of these things. Okay, great. So here, Okay, so here now we have it. Okay, and we don't have the action yet, so we'll create the action soon. And here, okay, let me also remove this. Let me also remove this for now. Okay, great. So now we also have this. This is the action which we'll call this add new bill. And if it's successful, this. Okay, great. All of this code will be in the GitHub. So yeah, I just don't want to waste much time. And when we fetch the service, we'll just have to format it and get the names, right? And the service name, place them into the service data here, right? So that we'll select the particular service and generate the data, add bills. Okay, I mean to say, okay. And we'll also track or watch the changes in this service ID. If we watch the changes, if it happens, then we get the quantity and do the multiplication here, right? So whenever users select any service, right, ID, we will grab the quantity from the here. You see that we have quantity. Okay, so we'll grab the quantity. When we grab the quantity, then we multiply the quantity by the service. We find the unit cost of that particular service, and if the unit cost exists, we find it. Then yes, okay. Then we perform it into 2, right? So if the unit cost exists, we set the unit cost to what we have gotten from this service data, and if the quantity also exists, then we multiply the unit cost by the quantity, right, and place it inside the total cost. Okay, great. So watch for when there's changes in this and there's changes in that. Okay, and this is the dialog form to show it. Okay, so I'll import this from our component. Okay, so you can find this code in a GitHub. Okay, great. So what is left now is we need to go into the medical action and create the okay, and just create the function to add new bill. Okay, great. So I'll just put that one also here. And as we rightly said, we said that here it will be for admin and doctors can do that. So here we can check also from here if we can do that is admin, right? Great. And also check cons is doctor. Okay, great. So we're checking if it's a doctor or great. Okay, so I need to also impart this. Okay, and here I want to use the pass. Okay, no, let me maintain the safe pass. Okay, great. And I also want to check. So, but first I want to check if none of this, if you are not a doctor or admin, we'll just say that you are not authorized. Yeah, great. But if you are, then okay, we'll check. Perhaps if there is no medical record, we'll create, okay, we'll check if the data that comes does not have the bill ID, right? It does not have the bill ID, okay, or it's undefined, then we need to fetch the appointment information, right? We fetch the appointment information using the appointment ID, and we'll check if also the appointment does not have bills, right? Then we create a new one and pass the bill info to the info variable we created up here. Okay, so we pass it and we create a new one with this, right? But if it exists, then we just take the first one, the first object of the array. Okay, great. But if all of this condition is false, right, and this one here, so meaning if the bill ID exists, then we just take the bill ID here. Okay, then we just create the patient bill, pass all the information, and use the bill ID that we have taken up there and just return. Okay, great. Okay, so just take your time and go over it. It's very simple. Okay, so here I will just call this that, and that's all. Okay. Okay, so it also left with the generate bill. So I think I also bring that one so that kind of okay. So also this is the one. Okay. Okay, so here we also don't have this action, but we'll handle it soon. Okay, so yeah. Okay, so also these are the props. We created this using the payment schema that I told you, and yes, we're also going to create this function. And so that's pretty much it. Nothing too big. Okay. Okay, so I'll also come here, and after this, I'll place that thing to create a bill. Okay, so here we also accept the data, right? Okay, then we verify it. Okay, so we verify the data, right? So once we verify the data, we check the discount amount, right? Okay, we calculate the discount amount because I think it will be entered in percentages, and we calculate the discount amount, and we save the amount by passing all this information into the bill payment, right? And once it's done, we also need to update the appointment, right? So once we generate the bill, meaning that the appointment is over, okay, then we set the status to true, right? And that's return. Okay, great. Okay. Okay, so I think I'm having an error somewhere. Okay, I have this twice. Okay, so here should also be fine. And now here should also be fine if I import them. So if I import this, okay, and I import also this, okay, and this is supposed to be total bills. Okay, great. So yeah, I think, so if I go to payment, let's see. Okay, so there's no payment. If I go to bills, okay. Okay, so we get an error here. Okay. So total bill, okay. So total, oh, but I changed it to total bills. Okay, so it's total bills here. So, I didn't save it. Let's see, maybe. Okay, so here, maybe now I can add bill and select the bill. Okay, I don't have any service for now. Okay. Service, let's see. Okay, so we need to also finish with this settings form. Okay, so yeah, to finish it quickly, I'm gonna just copy and paste that one, right? So that we can test and deploy our app. Okay, so if you check, you're supposed to go into the admin, then system settings. So I'll just close everything here, close all this, and inside here, I'll go inside protected admin. Then I'll have okay, yeah. Okay, so I have system settings / okay, page.tss. Okay, something like this. Okay, so here I can import this service card. I can import card from this, and I don't think this one exists for now. Okay, so here I can also import this from the types. Okay, so I need to create these two very fast. Okay, so I'm going to copy the settings components. Okay, so inside here, I'll just put settings. Okay, so I place settings here. It has these two components. Okay, so it has this settings. So maybe I can import them, then we see it. Okay, and this also has this. Okay, so if I go into the service settings, okay, so this is for the services where we fetch, we get the various services. Okay. Okay, so here, this will help us get all the services, right? So I need to go inside the admin service file, right? Okay, great. And in here, I can add the functionality to get all services. Okay, so here, great. So we just go into the services and fetch all of them and just return it. Okay, so yes, so that one is there. And now we also need to get the service dialog. Okay. Okay, so I'll just place that one also inside this dialog. Okay, here. Okay, so in here we're also doing a few things like creating of forms, right? Okay, great. So okay, so I also go inside the admin server action to add a appropriate function to create new service, right? Okay, great. Create new doctor. So I'll just put that one also here. Okay, so I need to get the services schema. Okay, so I'll go inside the schema and also put that of the services. Okay, so here, import it from here. Okay, so make sure you import it. We'll do the validations and we just create it. Okay, so I can come back here and okay, so ensure I import this correctly. Okay, and this also. Okay, so maybe I can import them here and see. Okay, get this. All of these codes I said will be in the GitHub. So yeah. Okay, great. So yeah, I think so. Yeah, we get the services information from here. We can create a new service. Yeah, that's it. And what again? Okay, let's also check this one. Quick links. Okay, and I think these are just links for quick actions. Okay, so let me go and see if I have the page showing now. Okay, so let's see. System settings. Okay, maybe I missed the spelling of the route. Okay, so I think I missed it. I made it 3T instead of 1, instead of 2. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so here, okay, so these are the quick links. So I can just click here to add service. So I'll just say consultation, $500, description, and save. Let's see. Okay, so it goes through and now it is here. Okay, great. So if I go back to the page where I came from, localhost. Okay, so here, okay, yeah. Okay, so if I go to bills now, I think I should be able to create bill. Okay, so if I click on this, okay, so now I have, yes, so now I have the service. You see the amount will be here, and I can put the quantity 1, and this one will be auto-filled, and the date. I'll select today and just press this, and let's see if it goes through. Great, it does goes through as the message shows, right? And now we have it here. Okay, but you see that this detail is not showing because the bill is not generated yet. So let's say generated, I want to offer a discount percentage of 1, right? Okay, and I want to put a date also for so today and just generate. Let's see. Okay, so okay, so you see we're not getting the total amount here. Okay, let me reload and see. I don't know why, but we're not getting the total amount. Okay, let's see again. Okay, still we're not getting the total amount. Okay, so let's go back to the code. I'm going to close all of this and just search for the bill container. Okay, great. So here, generate, we're supposed to get the total here. Okay, which is this. And here, oh yes, it's indeed. Okay, so I think here, I can do this, that if bill data exists, right? If bill data exists, I can just say total bills rate should be equal to, how should I even do it? Okay, it's equal to bill data, right? Dot reduce. Sorry. Okay, so we get a sum and this. Okay, well, I'll just say sum plus, okay, dot total cost. Okay, no, total cost, no unit cost. Great. Then this, and that's all. Okay, great. So I think now I should get the total. So okay, we're using the reduce function to loop over them and add all the total cost. Okay, great. Okay, so if I click here, great. So now we have this. Okay, now I want to offer a percentage of 1. Okay, and this. Okay, so I think I have this little bag in there. When I click on generate, I think there's some alert showing. Okay, this. Okay, let me move it. Okay, so it went through. Okay, so bill has been generated. Okay, great. And I don't think we used the router to refresh it. Okay, yeah, it's here. Okay, great job. So I believe, yeah, this is where we'll end. Yeah, we cannot finish all this system because this system is a very big system, and you know the requirements that you need, so you can add, modify, and add a lot of functionalities as per your need. Okay, great. So how we can deploy this? One is, okay, stop your server, and you need to build it locally and see if it'll be able to build. So you can just run npm run build, right? Okay, then when you get errors, you fix them, right, before you push it into production. Okay, and note that it has not been tested enough, so there will surely be bugs, but you can test it and modify it to your preference. Okay, so now you can see we have errors, right? Okay, so you just need to go through and fix them one by one. So say you see that set param of type this does not satisfy the constraint, okay, page prop. Okay, so you can just click on Control on Windows and press on the link, right, to open that page. Oh my goodness. So I don't think it's this page. Okay, so this page is the build Nest cache, right? Yeah. Then so forget about that one. Just close that one. Okay. Okay, so if you check, you can see that this is coming from the Nest this thing. So don't edit it in that one. Okay, so you can just check. It says that it goes to the records and the appointment page. So you can just say record / appointment, right? Okay, so I think this page. Okay, so records, appointment, then this page. Okay. So here we're saying that does not satisfy. So here we're using React 19, so we need to pass the generic type promise. Okay, great. God, so let me save it. Okay, so after that, it's also saying that here check field difference not found. Okay, so generate metadata entry. Where is this thing coming from? Okay, let's try to build it again, but then I want to do one thing. I want to delete the Nest cache file, right? Okay, great. And let's try it again. Okay, so npm run build. Okay. Let's see if it will be successful. Now we can deploy it to, we can push our code to GitHub and deploy it through Vercel. Okay, so we get another error here. So I'll just control click on it. And okay, so here, there it is. So here, let us set BG color instead. Oh, not color code. Okay, so I'll just say BG color. Okay, so I'll run npm run build again. Okay. Okay, so now you can see that it's built successfully. Okay, so if you can see this, then you should know that it's successful. Okay, so I'll push it to GitHub. Okay, so I will just say full stack healthcare. Yeah, great. I'll make it public and just this. Okay, so to push it, first ensure that you have this file git ignore, and in it you have this .env and .env local, right? So that you don't push them to mistake to GitHub. So okay, so just say git init. Okay, and what you can do is just say git add. Okay, to add all the files, you can say git commit. Let's say initial commit. Okay, then okay, so we're here. So git branch. This one branch, and now git remote origin. Okay, this one. And now you can now call on this push to push it to GitHub. Okay, let's see. Okay, so I believe it's been true. So if I refresh it, okay, so it's here. Okay, so now I can go to Vercel, or you can use any provider, hosting provider of choice. Okay, and just click on new. So new project. So new project, and I'll select this one. You can see just now. So I'll import this. Okay, so here we will need to add the build settings here. I'm going to change the setting because I'm getting problem with this thing. I'm going to say npm prisma npx prisma generate, and this. Okay, so I want to generate the prisma schema right before I build it. Okay, so nps prisma generate. Okay, I think that's correct. And also this one, I'll say npm install, right, and put the flag legacy.peer.deps. Okay, because we're getting problems when we're installing, right? Okay, but if you don't get this problem, fine, you can omit this. Okay, okay, and environment variables. So I will also copy my environment variables. So by going to .env. Okay, so I'll copy all of them, come here and paste all of them. Okay, like this, right? Okay, so I think I can deploy, and let's see if it goes through successfully. Okay, so we can track the build logs from here. Okay, so it has been deployed successfully. So you can see congratulations. So if you click here, okay, okay, so you can click on this link, and we should have the services running here. Great. So let's try to log in and see. I remember the password, but let me try. Okay, great. So it's working, and let's look at what we just did. Okay, so here and here. Okay, so you can see it's faster than it was in the development, right? Great job. Okay, so congratulations, you've done this. So I will encourage you to work on it, improve upon it, fix bugs, and you can do a whole lot, right? Okay, great. So yeah, it's working perfectly as it ought. Okay, great. Okay, so this is what we're able to do. Okay, however, if you want, the complete source code, right, you can check the links in the description, right? Let me show you what's yeah. Okay, so this is the one. Okay, so it has light and dark theme. I even prepared a landing page, right? But in this one, we're not able to do the landing page, right? So, okay, so prepare a landing page, and this all of these things here. You can get started, fully responsive. Okay, so if I put it to light, you can see, great. You can go here, and also I think login. Okay, so you can log in here. Okay, so yeah. Okay, so this one has more functionalities than the one we just finished. With this one, we're not able to do all. For this, yes, I covered a lot of things in it, right? Okay, so you can see that there are even notifications, right? Settings, There are invoices that you can create. You can have leaves, right? You can apply for leaves, payment, a whole lot of stuff going on here, right? Great, prescriptions and stuff. Here we have the also here the light and dark theme works perfectly here. You can see great. Okay. I think there are other dashboards like the pharmacy. I don't remember if I remember my password. Let me check. So farm. Okay, so this is the pharmacy, right? Okay, so you can see the expiring drugs. You can see the stock, history, invoices, and drugs issued. You can check if there are pending prescriptions. Then you can issue drugs, right? It comes here. You select the drugs and you just issue it. Okay, great. And there are also drugs you can add. You can add drugs. There are also medical records. You can see the medical records. You can also apply for leaves. There are invoices. You can also see a notification, right? Great. And you can also see the dashboard like this. Okay, so expiring drugs, you can even click to see all expiring drugs. Great. Okay, so this and many more, right? You can also request for a demo for this. Okay, you can grab it, the link in the description. At a very cool price. It's not free, right? Yeah, you can grab it at a very cool price. If you want to grab it, if you come early, you can use the promo code CODEWAVE to get more than 50% discount on the code. Okay, however, this one that we did up to here, the entire source code is on the GitHub. You can get it for free. But if you want this one, which contains the pharmacy dashboard, the Nexus dashboard, the laboratory and accounts, as well as the ones that we have done, right? You can just grab that one using the link in the description at affordable price. Use the promo code CODEWAVE to get discount at the checkout. Okay, thank you for your time. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you.